Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
What's the room again?
1240, down at the end.
Ooh, what's that?
Sammy, don't touch that. That's someone's old food.
Here we are. Do you have the key?
You have both of ours.
Oh, right. Not working.
Rub it.
Come on.
Try flipping it over.
Seriously. Why can't we go inside? I'm tired.
Give me yours.
You have mine.
All right.
What?
Please, if you
Dad,
could just...
why aren't you opening the door?
Can everyone just shut the...
Don't go there. Go on a real vacation. Go RVing. Learn more at GoRVing.com.
This is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Latta, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit and talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
You got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans, that's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio. I'm James Boyd, and here we have Rich Latta. What's going on, man?
Not much, chilling
really
here on the stream much. And got the Kobashi orange on and just trying to be great like Kenta Kobashi. What's up with you, man?
Not too much. I got this the Sixers beating the brakes off of the Raptors right now. Just got on over the side, and yeah, man, before we press record on the stream, we were talking about the NBA playoffs and we should have turned this on. We should have turned this on way earlier because, it's a light show. There's not much to talk about this week. We got AEW television, a little update on Stardom from the last 2 weeks of shows, and that's not it. Obviously, we filled time pretty well, but I don't know what we're gonna talk about after an hour.
It's going to be time for the people in the comments and on the live stream to do their jobs. They need to come with the questions, come here and tell us what it is. What do y'all want to know from your boys from One Nation Radio? But yeah, there was some stuff that I got to catch up on, like the New Japan show from this weekend. I tried to, watch it, and the stream was just really bad for me. So I'm just going to wait till it's on New Japan World. Of course, that had the Will Ospreay and Jon Moxley match. Had some other matches as well. I believe there was a Suzuki and Ishii match that led to Eddie Kingston challenging Ishii for their DC show. That's going to be epic. Someone must win in that match. But yeah, man, in AEW this past week, they had a big week, to say the least. They had Dynamite, they had Rampage that was live, and they had Battle of the Belts. So I guess we can start in Dynamite. That was in New Orleans. And this, of course, was the arena that, we once went to for that Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor show.
Yeah, 2018. I think it worked out in the long run, given it, being able to watch it was probably better to experience it live. But, we went to that instead of, NXT TakeOver New Orleans, one of the greatest pay-per-views of all time in American wrestling history. But I gotta say, I don't regret it because, getting up to watch it the very next day, unspoiled, man, that was a fucking blast. But like at the time, at that show, seeing like Ibushi and Hangman Page was like the opener or something like that. There was Punch Martinez versus somebody. I can't remember who it was.
Ishii.
That's right. Yeah. Damian Priest, now formerly Punch Martinez versus Ishii. There was a crazy multi-person ladder match that the Young Bucks were in. Do you remember who was in it? I can't remember.
I believe it was Young Bucks, SCU, and maybe the Briscoes.
I remember the Briscoes. Okay. Yeah. So, and then, obviously you have the last two matches you end up having Kenny Omega versus Cody Rhodes. And was that a ladder match?
No, Kenny and Cody was a regular match. Just had a bunch of bullshit in it.
That's what I'm thinking. There was a ladder in it because I remember like, did somebody go through a table?
That was the rematch in San Francisco.
Okay. And then the main event, for reasons that's still yet to be explained, Dalton Castle versus Marty Scurll for the ROH World Title. And at the time, before we knew that Marty Scurll was a sex pest, like we were like, well, he's clearly the bigger star. Like he could take this to another level. Go ahead and do this. But like, why the fuck is this main event? Like people didn't come here to see Dalton Castle. People came here to see Kenny Omega and Cody Rhodes. So that match went in the typical Marty Scurll fashion, apparently in big matches, like he takes more time than he should and went longer than it should have gone. And we were the whole time, we're like, yo, wrap this up. This shouldn't even went on last. Why is it going on so long? And Dalton Castle getting that win. And Dalton Castle just showed up on AEW television this week, which is kind of full circle, right? And like, I'm looking at him like, so he got that big win then, and like, you look at him in front of his crowd, and it's a crowd that's built off of New Japan Pro Wrestling and Ring of Honor from 2017 or so, 2016 or so to 2019. And he came out with Jonathan Gresham, and like, they almost had to do some charity with Dalton Castle. Like, Jonathan Gresham laid this match out for him to get over, and I'm like, why are you doing that? You're the champion. Like, so they played the talk nonsense and wackiness. Yeah. But it was just funny to think about it and that way, like how this thing came around is like they did all that. It's like, I mean, it worked out better than Madison Square Taven, but it was still like that wasn't a good idea. But so it was cool to see that building on TV.
Take a detour. JML brings up in the comments of the rumored AEW and New Japan show is June 23rd at the United Center. What do you make of this, James? Like you would think like this is like something that everyone's kind of been pining for since this whole thing got started, meaning AEW. Mm-hmm. And I think it kind of shows like the progression of their relationship. Like we've seen, people being sent back and forth, like there's guys like Moxley and Jericho, and they've sent some other people. They sent lower level guys too, like the Factory's working a program with the dojo and different stuff like that. We've seen Rocky Romero come into Dynamite, Ishii, different people. Hikuleo got a match, and it seems like it's just everything is the small stakes have added up to where we're at this, as the world's opening back up. To where it's going to be exciting to get everyone together. But what'd you make of this rumor that's going around?
Tell Bruce that I can hear Rich. I don't know if that matters from my end, but I can hear Rich. So I think
everyone's telling him that it's just him in the comments.
Okay, damn.
Refresh, Bruce.
What was the question again? What do you make of relationship?
In this show possibility.
I mean, it's really cool. Obviously Tony Khan has this huge announcement, which, could be this, could be, he comes to tell us what his favorite flavor of pancakes are, right? If they do this show, I think it's going to be big. Obviously, it's going to threaten to sell out, right? Danny Green just bammed on Siakam.
Can't trust him.
Like it wasn't like the Greg Paulus stunk, but he still. Bro, Danny Green's my age. Danny Green's my age. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's really cool if it happens, and like we're gonna have to make some decisions on where that we're gonna go if it gets
about that, because it is in 2 months, and I'm like,
you're gonna make decisions. It's gonna be a tough choice. I don't know, like, you know, I don't know if me or you go. I'm pretty sure Jeremy and or Josh is going.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I know Floyd's going to be going.
Floyd will be there for sure.
Floyd will be there. Yeah,
like I may. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see.
But I just think I just think that like they can't get into the thing that New Japan did with Noah. Like they have to put big singles matches on the card. Like that shit ain't gonna work in America. Like you're not gonna be able to put out some, I don't know, House of Torture versus Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, and Christian. We're not going for it. It's not fucking happening.
It's funny because I actually think they would have a better chance of doing that here, just because people were so rabid for this thing to happen, like AEW New Japan be like facing off, that they can do that kind of stuff, rather than in Japan where it's like when we're looking at it and we see all that stuff and we're like, oh, just because this would be the first time this has ever, you know, like kind of happened like that, and there's just such a hunger for it. Do I want to see something like that? No, but there's going to be a lot of politics around the finishes. I mean, one can look at the Ospreay and Moxley match, like they did that, just an old school, like kind of contested finish. Moxley pins him, he kicks out right at 3, and they're doing like some angle base off of it.
I didn't know about that.
Oh, okay. I heard it was a great match, but you know, that's kind of,
was it?
Yes, that's what I heard. Yeah.
No.
But
I'm not enthused to watch it now.
Oh,
after hearing that bullshit.
Yeah, but they like I think there will be at least 2 singles matches. I would imagine. I don't think they'd come out here and try the tag thing. I don't know, man. For me, and we had a question in the comments. It says, here's a question. How badly does AEW need Kenny Omega right now? AKA, is the product lacking without him or still amazing without him? I don't think they need him badly right now. Like there's good stuff going on, but I mean, adding Kenny Omega never hurts to anything.
I don't think they're hurting for Kenny Omega to rush back off the table and still be hurt by the time he comes back. I think they're doing fine. Like their shows have been consistently pretty good outside of, you know, something like a Battle of the Belts, which is we've now learned is like their New Blood 1. But yeah, like their television's been good. Their ratings have been fine. Or basically what they've been. They'll change once the basketball playoffs start.
I am a lot less excited about an AEW New Japan show if Kenny Omega's not on it. Yeah, like I feel like he needs to be there in some form or fashion. He needs to do an angle. Something needs to happen.
Well, there's somebody in here suggesting that I can see suggesting. Dre Zera is suggesting like Okada Omega again, and like, you know, don't come back for that though, right, Rich?
No. No, because like I don't know, like there is something about leaving the series perfect. I think they do have to do it in America once at least, but as far as like I don't feel like there's a particular rush for that match, because you can do a couple of these things, like, you know, make sure everybody's, you know, 100% good to go, and the likely main event, Punk versus Kenta, I think that would be pretty disappointing as a main event personally. I
mean, it mostly comes down to what are you going to do with CM Punk, and how can you justify him not being the main event? Like that really is what it comes down to. And like for me, like one, I don't know what kind of shape Kenta's in. He was fucking murdered on January 4th or 5th.
Yeah, we haven't seen him like since, right?
Didn't he dislocate his hip?
Yeah, he had a bad injury.
Yeah, he had a hip injury. I don't know if it was the Bo Jackson deal or if he popped out of socket. But one of those two things happened. And obviously, you know, like, that kind of happened to, or the Bo Jackson deal happened to, Chris Dickinson. He's back, but like Chris Dickinson, that's kind of different. It's kind of different.
He kind of looks like a freak of nature.
Yeah,
personally.
and Kenta has way more injuries and has wrestled a lot longer and is also older. So, like, you remember, like, Kenta, there was a point where, like, we were like, yo, man, like, is he ever going to get himself, like, back right after those shoulder injuries he had, or shoulder surgeries he had, when he was at AO Itami and NXT. So, like, you know, I don't think the rehab program or whatever else, or the road to recovery is going to be as smooth. But, you know, Kenta main eventing that show, like, I don't know if that's a thing that, I don't know if even New Japan goes for that.
Yeah. I don't know. Like maybe you put, like,
he's not a flagship guy for them. He's a guy that how do I say this? He's not a top guy in New Japan. He is a guy that is like a Momo in Stardom, where it's like, this is a person that is like upper mid card, not main eventer top guy person so far in New Japan.
I don't know. If it's me, I'll do something like throw some out there like Shingo Takagi versus Hangman, if Hangman's still the champion, something like that. Shingo's already been the champion in New Japan. He's kind of like coming down off that hill. Like, you can afford to do that, and then you would give, like, you know, Okada somebody essentially that's high up, that's kind of not, you know, really in the focus right now. So that can be, you know, one of those BCC guys, or like, I don't know. I don't think they'd have him beat Punk or anything.
No, absolutely not.
But I would probably no, I don't think you could go with Adam Cole maybe against Okada, maybe something like that.
I mean, okay, so
I feel like he's so much bigger than Cole, and I hate to do the size thing, but like that would just be a lot. I think for people to go for. If
they're ever going to do it, they have to do. Well, I mean, is that much different than him and Marty Scurll?
I don't think so.
Yeah. I think. I will say this: if they're ever going to do an Adam Cole versus Okada match, it has to be in America. It can't be in Japan.
Right.
So, but yeah,
I think a lot of people would be upset at this because one thing I'm finding is this. I don't know. I think Adam Cole is next to, like, not on the Cody level as far as like strange discourse around him, but it's like, all right, there are people that hate that he turned his back on WWE. There are people that never liked him to begin with. There are,
he won us over in 2019.
There's a lot of like things around him, like, and I see almost what everyone is talking about, because like, I'm like, okay, but like, I'm like, yo, but when it comes down to it, like, his matches always like go to a certain degree. I don't really like his offense, but like, I think he's a great ring general. Like, and I think like
his matches are better than his like skill set.
Right.
Or
like,
what do you think
like,
of when you think of like what like top 10 Adam
Yeah.
Cole moves, or like you see like an Austin Aries like highlight reel, or like I don't know, Okada or whatever. Like, it's just a thing where it's like he's never out of place. He has a couple spots that like pop people all the time that are automatic, and he always has a great match. And like, and then another part of it is like, he's so fucking over. Like, you know, so I can understand why some people don't get
like, you watch it and then go like this. Like, I feel like that's the only way. Like, if you don't understand like what to do with him or what.
I think a lot of people they see it as like, he's not Ricochet, he's not Johnny Gargano, but it's like, it don't matter. He's every bit as over as those guys, or, you know, whatever. It's like,
more.
Like, well, yeah, like when you go through, like, dude, go on your Google Trends, just go on your Google Trends, type in Adam Cole, then type in Adam Page, and then look at what Adam Cole is compared to Adam Page. You'd be like, what are we complaining about? What are we doing? Like, they are getting over Adam Page at the expense of Adam Cole. Adam Cole's a bigger star than him. Oh well, like, but that's the point. Like, the point is to push Adam Page, and it's working. So who cares? So like, all this stuff when people talk about, like, you know, what are they doing with him, whatever, it's like, he's facing the champion. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
He's had one of the better feuds of the year in worldwide with the champion. He lost both matches, but whatever. He's a champion.
Okay. Either I'm picking Okada to face Cole or Danielson or left field Keith Lee.
Okada versus Keith Lee?
Yes.
Huh. I've never thought of that match forever. I don't know. I don't even know. I have no expectations. Like, the only thing I want is like
champions retain, obviously.
Yeah. Like, all I want is like, if you're gonna really do it, have singles matches that people want to see, and go from there. Like, because here's the thing. Like, what if this just turns out to be like almost like a G1 Supercar, where it's like all this shit self-contained, it's not interpromotional, it's just a super show, it's New Japan versus New Japan, it's AEW versus AEW. I think people are jumping the gun on this to an extent. Like, and like, to be quite honest with you, I'd rather that than them come out here with these tags.
Mm-hmm.
I'd much rather that than same thing with the Noah stuff at the beginning of this year. Is like, if you're gonna do this joint show, whatever else, if you're gonna do these inter-promotional tags, save them. Just run big matches instead. I'd much rather watch that.
I'd like to see them do like at least like one like team 5-on-5 match with like eliminations over the top rope. I think that'd be awesome.
So who do you have in mind?
I guess you can do
Dark
like nah. Man, like you would need something with like more than 5 people in it. So
AFO.
Yeah, you could do that.
No, you can't get away with AFO,
and you put them in there with LIJ,
and so they can just smoke AFO real quick, get them out of there.
I mean, they'll eventually have to come down to Naito and Andrade, and that's where you get your real kind of face off there.
Okay.
But maybe, I don't know. There's a lot of different. All right, Jericho Appreciation Society. That's what you do.
Oh God.
And run it back. Jericho Naito, familiar. But
yeah, I could they just do Jericho and Dan Garcia in a handicap match? I'd much rather watch that than go to 2-on-5 versus.
I don't think LIJ has 5 members anymore, though. I don't know if they have 5.
You're right. They're still at 4. Yes. Bushi. No. They still got 5, right? Bushi, Tanahashi, Sanada, Takagi, and Naito.
Okay, then do the House of Black versus them. Then
House of Black has what? 3 people.
Then do 3-on-3 and pick 3 of them.
Okay.
So. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways they could go with this thing. I'm kind of keeping it, if it happens, cool. If not, I'm not sweating over it. I don't think it's anything that needs to happen at this moment because, personally, I don't want to see this thing without, Kenny involved. But that's just me, selfishly.
Yeah.
But
so here's my thing. Like, because the main thing's the main thing, and like they talked about the Kenta and CM Punk thing. CM Punk has to be in something big. That's the main drawing point of doing it in the United Center. So what would you like him to do in a New Japan era? Tanahashi?
Ospreay.
I don't think he can keep up.
I mean, that's why they work together. So like Will knows how to wrestle an old guy. You saw what he did with Satoshi Kojima. That was awesome.
I think that Kojima can go. Still has more go than CM Punk does at this point. Like CM Punk is getting this done all off of storytelling, and that's no shade to him, but like I imagine Ospreay and CM Punk going face to face, looking each other in the eye, and then like I'm just looking at those dudes. I'm just like, I don't know. I mean, they can do something. Oh God.
Like I'm picking a heel to fight him. Like,
but you got to pick a heel that they don't want to protect. Don't say evil. Don't fucking say evil.
He could be Jay White.
You think they let him be Jay White?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
Jay White.
Like if it's not him, then you're looking at like Zack Sabre Jr. You're probably looking at somebody white. As I go through this,
I'd rather watch Sabre versus Punk than White versus Punk.
I think
personally,
there's a lot of ways they can go. I hope they whenever they tell us which way they go, that it's dope. So okay, yeah, Shingo, Naito, Bushi, Hiromu, Sanada. Okay, yeah, thank you, Purple Drain. Appreciate it.
I just said that like a few minutes ago.
I was scanning the rosters. My bad.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
So hold on. Anyway, this would be a New Japan AEW star. No, it can't. I don't want it to be. Like, look, if you're going to do that, right? The New Japan AEW throw Stardom in so you could do interpromotional AEW women versus Stardom wrestlers.
Britt going over.
Fine.
Just hope y'all know.
Give her. I don't know. Give her Starlight Kid. Whatever. Starlight. They love sending Starlight Kid out there to lose in some.
She's going over Mayu.
Anyway.
You know, Iwatani.
I mean, she wants a match with Mayu. She talked about how like she like thinks she's the best women's wrestler in the world and like watches a bunch of her stuff. Britt said this on some interview that you sent me a few months ago that I remembered. But I mean, I don't think Mayu would care about losing to Britt Baker, whatever. But I mean, I just like you do Britt Baker versus Mayu, and it's like, is the match gonna be good? You know what I'm saying? Like regardless of like, you know, Thunder Rosa versus Mayu, that's more up my alley. Like I know that match is gonna be fire. And like if she loses, it's fine. But for me, it's kind of like you got to put people on there that's actually really good if you're going to do. Otherwise, what's the point, right? I'm sorry, but like I don't want to see I don't want to see Jade Cargill versus Shuri. That's dumb. That's dumb.
I mean, we could line up with Tommy to get thrown around by Jade.
That's dumb too. Like neither like Jade isn't there for that yet. And also like. Nah, it makes no sense.
You know, bring out Tony Storm, you know, and you know Rossi can even pick the opponent. You know,
yeah. I mean,
he love her anyway.
Who would he at this point in the game put Tony, if he could choose who he would have her like wrestle in a return match?
That man will put her in a title match. He would make her fight Saya Kamatani right now.
Maybe not initially. Like, I think given the Bushiroad thing, like, I mean, I can see her like, Tekla. Send Tekla out there to get, you know, ground zero, and she can be SWA champion again, or something like that. But as far as the Stardom stuff, is just like. That's too far gone. Like I would say this though, like once they announce this show, you already know where that's gonna go as far as criticism for it. Like where are the women's matches?
Yeah, where are the women?
Yeah. That's the first thing that happened. They're like, look, if you are so inclined to want Stardom to quell that, fine. But it's like they're gonna want to put their champions on that show, and like you know, Thunder Rosa, she's good enough to have a high quality match with anybody at the top of Stardom, right? But Jade, if she's gonna come out and squash,
going over Julia.
If she's going to squash somebody, like send Ida. Ida's really good at going out there and losing and you know having fire and being impressive. So, what were you saying before about money?
I said the bunny is going over Julia.
Can you fucking imagine? Hey, you're the third biggest star in a company, you know, always promotion that draws 1,000 people like any week it wants to do any weekend, right? Go out here and lose to the fucking bunny.
You know.
Hey, serious question. Has the bunny? Well, actually, I don't know what she's doing as far as her merchandising or her rollout. I have no idea what her rollout entails a rollout. But unless it involves like an OnlyFans or whatever else, I seriously doubt that she's seen any checks as quite as big as them Julia merchandise checks from Stardom the last 3 years. I seriously doubt it. Seriously doubt it.
You know, there's also, you know, we can send Momo Watanabe out there with the poo poo face, you know, to get kicked by Anna Jay, you know. You know, loving these booking ideas on James.
Where's Anna Jay in where is Anna Jay in like the hierarchy of the AEW's women's division?
It's time to play. It's time to play the OR game, and we didn't even know we were doing it.
I was just like asked for a simple question, but sure, let's do it. Go ahead, pull up the roster. Let's do it.
I've got it prepared because I come like a professional. Okay, if you guys are not familiar with the OR game, it is very simple. We name the person, and then we go OR, and then we would say who we'd rather have.
Well, in this particular case, we're talking about like status in the company, not actually like their skills in this situation.
Okay.
As far as let's go by presentation from the company.
Okay, that works. Anna Jay or Abaddon?
Anna Jay.
Anna Jay or AQA?
Anna Jay.
Anna Jay or Britt Baker?
Britt.
Anna Jay or the Bunny?
Oh, Britt. I'm sorry, not Britt. Anna Jay. Sorry, I lost it.
I feel like that one's a push.
Think so?
I feel like that one's a push. Like Bunny gets to at least go in there a lot.
How does she win?
She could win more.
I feel like Anna Jay wins more than she does.
Yeah,
maybe that's a function of her being a face and was a heel. Yeah. I don't know, but that's what it seems like.
So we got Anna Jay or Emi Sakura.
Anna Jay.
Anna Jay or Hikaru Shida.
Shida.
Anna Jay or Jade.
Jade.
Anna Jay or Jamie Hayter.
Ooh. We might get an answer to that in this tournament. That might be a push for me. What do you think?
I'm gonna go Jamie Hayter because they were using her kind of in a heater role next to the champions. I think she's just ranked a little bit higher, and they know what they're doing by announcing her and Toni Storm as a first round match to get people interested. I don't think there's a match that they could announce for Anna Jay unless it was against Ty Conti that would generate any type of excitement on that level or close to it. Anna Jay or Kiera Hogan.
Anna Jay.
Anna Jay or Chris Statlander.
Stat.
Anna Jay or Leva Bates.
Anna Jay.
Anna Jay or Layla Hirsch.
Lately? Well, she's hurt now.
Yeah.
What was her injury?
Knee injury.
How bad?
I don't know.
Okay. They were definitely focused on the storyline with her and Statlander. Haven't over the last full year, I would still say Anna Jay.
Mercedes Martinez.
Anna Jay. She's disappeared.
Anna Jay or Nyla Rose.
Nyla.
Anna Jay or Paige Van Zandt.
Well, they definitely want to. Make this happen with Paige Van Zandt. So I'll say that. I'll say Paige.
Anna Jay or Penelope Ford.
I think that she has climbed ahead because I can't remember last time I seen Penelope Ford.
Same. Anna Jay or Rebel.
Anna Jay. Definitely Anna Jay.
Anna Jay or Red Velvet.
I've seen Red Velvet more of late, but I think she still doesn't win as much as Anna Jay does.
Anna Jay or Riho.
Riho.
Anna Jay or Ruby Soho.
Ruby.
Anna Jay or Serena Deeb.
Serena.
Anna Jay or Ty Conti, her partner.
Ty's in front of her.
Anna Jay or Thunder Rosa.
Thunder Rosa.
Anna Jay or Toni Storm.
Oh, it's gonna be Toni Storm. You best believe Tony Storm for to be out here talking like the Heisman, just So yeah.
And Anna Jay versus Yuka Sakazaki. She's not a everydayer, but you know.
When she's around, she's a bigger deal than Anna Jay.
Yeah, so it looks like she's a special square in the middle.
Yeah, she's like a straight up mid Carter.
Yeah. So anyway, always fun to play the Aura game. So I guess we can get to the Dynamite CM Punk versus Penta L0M or whatever his name is this week.
Oscuro, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This was an interesting match. CM Punk was attempting to do Lucha Libre. There was a move. I think, some people think it was a botch. Some people think it was a part of the match. It worked. Whatever it was, it worked for the match because I think he started selling pretty. I like the selling after, and I'm not a person that's a stickler for you to sell and all that. I thought it was just an interesting match, and this was like a cool match because Pentagon's like, we had a conversation. I don't know if it was on air or not, but it was just like he's just always fucking over no matter where he is,
especially in Chicago.
Yeah. And there were jokes that said, one great Chicago star and CM Punk in the ring, and this is like a cool thing about AEW. They'll just run this cool match out here. I don't think anybody was thinking about this before it happened. And, I enjoyed it.
I for some reason, I missed like the first 5 minutes of this match. I never got around to rewatching it. So like I'm missing a lot of context, but I saw probably a couple minutes before, I missed like the first 8 minutes. So like went to commercial break and then I got like the commercial break on. So like I saw like right before they led up to him trying to go for the top rope Hurricane Rana where he botches it and then he turns it into a sell job. Not for 1 second did I think like he did that on accident. Or sorry, he did it on purpose. Like he was trying to go for the big move, he botched it, and then and then you can tell by like the hesitancy from everybody that like they got to come up with something to add to it. Like so, they made the best of it out of that. I've seen better jobs of botches being covered. Like specifically, one that comes to mind is the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn match from Battleground 2016, where he goes for the Arabian moonsault, or Sami Zayn does, and then he lands on the shoulder on the apron, and then like Kevin Owens from the rest of that thing's immediately on that shoulder the rest of the match. And that's one of the better matches in AEW or WWE on the main roster for the last like decade. But they did definitely make lemonade out of those lemons, and I thought that it was a good match from the stuff I saw. I couldn't give it a rating because I missed the context of what happened at first. So
I'd probably say like 3 3/4. Okay. But we have breaking news, James. Kushida has left WWE.
Really?
Yes. Apparently the story has not come out yet, but that's what Sean Ross Sapp is reporting. So no more jacket time. Should we talk about the run of Kushida in WWE?
For fuck's sake.
Kushida is a lesson to all wrestlers. Timing is everything. You never be a mark for coming to WWE if you're a Japanese wrestler, because anything can happen for you. You could turn to Asuka, you could turn into Kushida here. They had him in some.
And there's no explanation or no reason for what happens in between those two, like gigantic, like
You could also be a ninja. Like Akira Tozawa and stuff like that. So
it ain't got nothing to do with whether or not how well the English you speak or how charismatic you are or how well you wrestle. It don't matter. You could be Nakamura or Asuka, or you could be Jiro or or Tozawa. And it makes no sense or no rhyme or reason. Like you can't tell me Tozawa like ain't charismatic. He speaks better English than any other person in Japan or any other Japanese person they have that's a talent. So yeah, it makes no sense. They just picking and choosing and then doing goofy shit accordingly from there on.
Kushida, everyone assumed he wanted to be a heavyweight, which is why he left New Japan, and then he ended up just slumming it on the pervert shows, NXT Level Up and 205 Live and lots of shows like that. Just like the kiddie table, as people will call them. Like, they roll him out there in NXT time to time. Never had a real program for him, almost ever. When he got a chance against Gargano, they had a great match. I believe he had a match with Walter once, and it was pretty good. But aside from that,
it was great but short.
I can't really think of anything else they really did with him that was meaningful. That, he started wearing jeans to wrestle in.
Well, they gave him the storyline where it was a tiebreaker in the 2 blocks.
I remember that.
The 2 blocks of the cruiserweight, basically G1, where it's like 3 people in one block, 3 people in another block, and he was in a 2-way tiebreaker with Drake Maverick, and because Drake Maverick had just got released and brought him back out the goodness of his heart, in one of the better storylines in the inside of the, I almost said the bubble, inside of the PC, like, he said, "Hey, you go do this because you need to try to secure this contract for your family." And then, like, naturally, because it's WWE, the Hill won, Drake lost, and then they still gave, because he lost, they still gave him Attaboy and gave him the contract, and he cried he has a contract, and then they released him like a year later after doing that. It's like, yo, y'all fucking awful.
So he did win the Cruiserweight title at one point.
Kushida? Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Yeah, this is so, remember the time where they had so many people in the Performance Center, he couldn't get a locker.
Yep.
At one point.
Yep.
And it was so overcrowded. And I guess the last time he competed in WWE was March 22nd. Of course, like, when we think about when he went there probably, his last show was the Elite in New Japan. Like, his last Wrestle Kingdom, at least, they gave him a farewell after that.
It was like a January 2019 Korakuen Hall. Like, he faced Tanahashi in the main event, and then, like, I remember this because I watched it because I knew, we all knew he was leaving for WWE. So like, I watched it. It's like a 4.25 star match, and then, like, he loses. Obviously, he's on his way out, and he shakes. He high fives everybody and everybody, at ringside and all around before he leaves. And, like, I remember the English commentators, Kevin Kelly, he was like, I think. I'm pretty sure this is the last we've seen him in New Japan. I think he'll be back. And, like, because he knew, like, that wasn't no place for him to really be at.
Yeah. 3 years. It looks like, you just put it together. It looks like his contract may have expired. And then, like, he's choosing not to resign, but he'll be just in time for Best of the Super Juniors. He can slide right back in there.
They need the help. Yeah, I mean, look, Ishida's one of the best technical wrestlers in the world, period. So, like, he ain't gonna be hurting from work. Like,
yeah, he'll
if he wants to go to New Japan, they'll ask him for him to come back immediately. If you want to go anywhere else in Japan, he could go. I think New Japan will try to get him. I think Tony Khan would want to hire him. Like, you think all those people you think of all the Japanese or New Japan wrestlers that were in Rev Pro or did Defiant / What Culture? All of them are people that Tony Khan clearly saw and liked and went to those shows and saw. So, like, she'd be right up his alley.
Yeah, and I don't think they have any local, like, Japanese men's wrestlers, like, in AEW, like, people that live in America. Yeah, that live in America and, like, stuff like that. Like,
can you imagine if him or Tozawa in AEW, how well they do?
Yep.
They'll get over immediately because of how good they wrestle.
Yep. And then you think, Takesha's on the way in, maybe they can figure something out, So it'll be interesting to see where he goes next, but he'll have plenty of suitors, and his WWE tenure was a
big waste. Remember, we saw him and Keith Lee tag together at some house show, random house show, or maybe it was just because I went to a couple shows by myself, but they tagged together like at like a Tampa house show, and it's like, wait, what? What is going on? Like, I know they're both baby faces, so sure, but what? Like, it was like somebody just like pressed like a random match on a match generator and like they just brought it out, and I was like, I mean, that's cool, but what? So yeah, like, you know, they at times they had things for him, they want to do things for him, but as it came more and more to the end of them wanting to change things because they were trying to compete with Dynamite, and then like the bring, you know, them transitioning over to from Black and Gold to 2.0, like you can see like he was one of them people that was going to lose favor, and as you say, they haven't used him since like March, so it's like time's up. Look, you know,
wrestlers know, like they know when it's time for them to make a move.
Oh, they definitely know. Keith Lee, not listening to Keith Lee, but listening to Gargano and listening to Kyle O'Reilly talk about like the end of their runs in New Japan, like with Renee.
NXT, you mean?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Like at the end of their last years or whatever else, and like watching like the transition for them like to 2.0 about a year before they left. They were both like, yeah, you know, we were stale. Like Gargano was like, yeah, this shit's stale. Like, you're gonna watch me on the same show for 5 years. He knew, but you know, when everyone clowns Gargano because he looked at his hands, it's like, and then he talks about how like he looked at his hands, how like, yeah, that wasn't exactly the coolest thing in the world. Like, he's like, yeah, I was booked to do this. Y'all make it act as if like this is what I want to do, but whatever. So, you know, people know, like, they're not clueless. Like,
yeah,
they're wrestling fans just like we are.
Especially the guys that are our age.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, looping back into AEW, AEW World Tag Team Championship match. This was a show with a lot of wrestling on it. This was Red Dragon against Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus pick up the win. I was really into this match. I started noticing that Bobby Fish was getting isolated off at the end, and I was like, come on, bitch. And then, you know, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus hit the Thoracic Express for the win on them. I was shocked. I thought the belts like were changing here, but I guess the message was being sent this week to Red Dragon and Adam Cole that, you know, y'all getting your ass whooped, you know, when you come in up in here. But yeah, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus do it again. Another match that's awesome. I don't know, like, you know, outside of the matches, if they're the most compelling team or anything like that, but like they step in and the matches are awesome. Like Kyle O'Reilly, you know, and Fish were awesome in this match. I enjoyed this match a lot.
Yeah, I thought this match had like even important subtext beat or playing on tendencies where like you look at a lot of the TNT title changes, or like a lot of the babyface title changes from babyface to heel in AEW, and it's because they gave the babyface an out, right? Like Darby Allin was beat to shit by the time he got to Miro, right? Sammy Guevara, you know, went through a table and was holding on for dear life before Scorpio Sky beat him in that match, right? Like there's a lot of those. So for me to see that the way they were working over Luchasaurus' leg and how he was selling, and like the guy that's the hot tag guy was the one that was, you know, getting the heat this time in the way that they did it, almost in reverse compared to what we normally see out of Jurassic Express. It was interesting to me, and it worked really well. And they were basically like in football, like they offensive linemen, like they're told to like, you don't try to take someone head on. You try to move them instead of moving straight forward. You try to move them left or right, like, or at like a 45-degree angle. It's called taking half a man. Like when they were working over his leg, they were out here trying to take half of the Luchasaurus because they couldn't handle the whole thing. It was fun to watch, and then like, you know, they kept getting in these predicaments where like they got them like in a submission attempt and like, are you going to tap, and they kept surviving, and then like some of the near falls were great, and I thought this was a great match. And like it's another one of those. It's another one for Kyle O'Reilly as a tag team wrestler. Dude just does this. I would love to see them wrestle again. We'll see whenever that comes, but yeah, it was a great match. I saw the cage match score and I was quite frankly surprised. I was like, really? I thought it was a 4.25 star match. I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, I thought it was baffling. Like, and you know, I don't know. Like, I think people need to get their eyes checked.
I also looked at some of the comments just to be like, am I crazy here? And like, a lot of people do not like Luchasaurus.
I know that's another one.
Like,
and it's like all this dude does is from day one get crazy reactions in any building he's in. What are you not seeing? What are you not understanding?
Maybe they want promos from the dinosaur. I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Like, yeah. I have no time to address idiots. But yeah, man, Luchasaurus is awesome. And then FTR comes out after the match, and their music hits, crowds going up for them. They kind of face off with Red Dragon and Aisleway, but they're kind of overlooking them, and it looks like FTR is like knocking on the door for Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Maybe they have to go through Red Dragon first as their run kind of continues. But they held essentially like they've got 2 sets of belts, and they look like they're coming for a third.
Yeah, I noticed that. The thing that mostly got me was, or the thing that mostly stood out to me was when they held the Ring of Honor tag titles in front of like a former 14-time or 15, 16, 20-time Ring of Honor tag champion. So I thought it was funny. So like, I want to see that match again because like they had it in NXT and it was awesome. But yeah, I just if and when they get to Jurassic Express versus FTR, I wonder how that's going to work out because like hasn't been that many. I don't think there's been that many tag team babyface versus babyface like tag title defense in AEW. Has there? I'm mistaken on that. It seems like they normally stick to the traditional heel versus babyface, dynamic.
Yeah. They were heels and they fought against the Lucha Brothers back at Full Gear. The Lucha Bros wrestled Jurassic Express. That was face versus face.
Yes, that's right. That's true.
That's the only real one I can think of. So, but after that, we had Blackpool Combat Club. They note they're going to take on the Gun Club, and Wheeler says that the real work begins. After that, they kind of faced off. Go ahead.
I would like for people to go back and rewatch that promo and look at William Regal, and I think he might be hanging out with Tony Khan too much.
You stupid. Regal's doing his thing where he acted like he used to act like that when he was in WCW.
Exactly. Fuck you mean? Like,
nope, leave it at that. Leave it at that. Don't say anything else.
Let's move on. Fine.
So they announced Hater and Storm for first round of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. Jamie says that she and Tony are like Owen, that they hone their craft in Japan and Europe. Tony Storm, obviously not really an orator, says nothing and walks away.
It was weird because like, if there's anything that she actually did well in NXT was like she improved as a talker. And then like, I don't know if it was because they were cut for time, so there was no back and forth, but like, it's nice to see that like the stuff I saw in Stardom from Jamie as a promo, like I wasn't losing my mind and just was like, like I saw charisma, I saw some fire, I saw like wittiness, and like she kind of had that here. Not some big deal, but it's like they let her talk more than she ever had before. Yeah, I think if they let her talk and let her show her personality more, she would get over. But they only got so much time.
Yeah. So another news update about Kushida. As we kind of mentioned, it was a contract expiration, so he can show up somewhere tomorrow if he wants. And where's AEW at on Wednesday? I don't know, but I'm sure if there's a situation they can fly him in. Tony Khan does have a private jet.
Yeah, hey, we got an announcement that we're going to do AEW versus New Japan and let you know the first person on this AEW side is Kushida! Like, what?
Like, there's going to be a 5-on-5 team AEW.
Yes. There's all of a sudden pull that shit out of nowhere. You're like, wait, what? When did he show up? Okay, all right, fine. Yeah, man. That's interesting. It's really interesting how that worked out. Like, he's gonna be fine though, wherever he ends up. Like, I just remember, like, when they were starting, you know, as the pandemic stuff was going on, and I remember, like, he ended up, he took a video of him, like, getting the vaccine in his car. You know, they had like, they had the drive-through vaccination places.
Yeah.
I remember just being like, this has to be such a mind fuck for him to go from Japan with, like, how serious they are about, like, taking care of, how serious they are with, like, all the restrictions in Japan. We ain't, you can't even get into Japan yet, right? And meanwhile, like, he probably is like, they doing what out here? And I was just being like, yo, he probably, he brought his family with him, and it's like, I mean, some of the vignettes or video package for him, like, it was showing him playing with his daughter and how he came here for a better life. It's almost like an immigrant story. And it's like, and now he in his wild west ass country that don't give a fuck about nothing. And, like, I felt bad for him at times. So, not to say that he's someone that needed to be felt bad for, but, hopefully he catches on somewhere, or not hopefully, he will catch on somewhere, but hopefully he, like, this isn't something where, like, he feels like he wasted, like, 3 years of his life in a career. I hope not.
MJF versus Shawn Dean. The captain rides again. Shawn Dean continues to own the pinnacle.
This what we going with?
Fantastic angle.
This what we going with?
Yes, crowd goes fucking insane. Wins by the count out. Wardlow shows up, beats the hell out of a bunch of other geeks. MJF gets chased up the ramp, and then he gets counted out. Tries to buy the ref essentially off, but the ref does not give in to his demands. And Shawn Dean once again defeats MJF. A legendary performance, some say.
So I saw someone mention a great point. So there was security all around the place, rampant or whatever else, to keep Wardlow out. So Wardlow then shows up dressed in someone's security clothes with a security mask, which now begs the question, like, when are we gonna see, like, the backstage footage of super spy James Bond Wardlow beating the hell out of somebody, subduing them, and then taking their clothes like they're Agent 47 from the video game?
Look, did somebody get left back there in their drawers? Like what happened there?
Yeah, like, if it's Metal Gear Solid, knock their ass out, stuff them in a locker, took all their shit, leave them butt naked in the locker, or tied up, whatever. Like, it was funny, like, thinking about, like, yeah, like, are we gonna see the follow through in it? The follow through should be on, like, some not on TV, but like some BTE shit. And be like let's say it was I'm not even get into it, but, like, it'd be funny just to be like, so what did Wardlow do to actually pull this off? Like, to pull off this, this skill of the century, right? This whole play. I want to see how the whole play was orchestrated. But it's great. And, like, it's gonna, it reached a point now where he's pissed off and he's like, you know what? I've had enough of just ignoring you. Now I'm going to put you to work, and I'm going to now, like, he's brought him back to pay him to go face somebody that's dangerous, which is like, this is the subtext of this Vince McMahon stuff is, like, just so great. So great. So Butcher, that's next week, right? Or actually,
that's this
Wednesday.
week.
Yeah.
Can't wait. Wardlow versus Butcher. Oh man, that's got me all over it. Darby Allin wants a coffin match with Andrade. Last time we saw one of those was excellent. It was Ethan Page. Darby, if he's the stipulation man, I'd love to see him never lose one of these. But that should be fantastic. We had Jericho Appreciation Society against Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. Eddie came out with the Junkyard Dog Thump shirt on. They had Santana and Ortiz starting against the Jericho Appreciation Society, but Eddie basically charged Garcia, kind of a la, if you guys checked out New Japan Strong, he was charging him between the tags.
Yep.
Every stuff like that. Yep. And then like, you know, they're working and all of a sudden Jericho fucking cracks Eddie Kingston in the back with the bat. Fucking hilarious the way he did it, because like they're kind of just wrestling and all of a sudden you see the camera like in a spot where you know some bullshit about to happen, and then you just hear that crack of the bat and Eddie just crawls like or falls like he was shot like and then Daniel Garcia rolled him up for the win or whatever. So Jericho Appreciation Society still kept very strong here. They're not dropping any falls right now.
Yeah, especially early on. And at a certain point, Eddie Kingston and Santana Ortiz have to beat them. But I don't know. I'm assuming that's going to be saved for like a bigger show, right?
Yeah.
But
this has like blood and guts written all over it. Like,
but they need another person or two people. Who do you think they will be?
Eddie Kingston can find somebody. I don't know who.
That's
but,
true. Like, I mean, obviously, all I has to do is like literally like show one video package of man walking up on Moxie backstage, being like blood and guts. Hell yeah, brother. It would take like 5. It would take 5 seconds to be like,
y'all want to work tonight? BCC, y'all want to work tonight?
Not maybe he has to get another person besides him, but like all he has to do with Moxie is like it's almost like that Jeremy Renner in Ben Affleck movie The Town, where it's like, hey, I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not gonna tell you why, but there's some guys that we need to hurt, and we need to hurt real bad. And then he goes, "Okay, so whose card are we taking? Mine or yours?" Like that is the kind of relationship Moxie and Keeks should have. So like, like all it would take is like, "Hey man, blood and guts, you in? All right," and then they walk off together. Like it takes like 8 seconds. So but we'll figure out. We'll see who ends up being. But like, if that's what they plan on doing, then yeah.
I should mention that this crowd was insane the whole night.
Yeah, they were.
Up until this point, Marina Shafir then took on Sky Blue, and it turned into a mausoleum.
Is that the quietest an AEW crowd has ever been for Dynamite or Rampage?
Yes, I can't think of anything that's close.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Like. Yeah. This was like such a stark presentation contrast from the rest of the show. And it was like, what is this? Like,
this is one of those where I was like, when WWE, people in the, words were coming out when we could see the reactions for Dynamites at the time of pay-per-views, they would say like, everybody's over, nobody's rejecting anything. And it's because all this shit's too easy, and this crowd is just like sycophants or whatever else, and they'll go for anything that comes out of Tony Khan's draws at the time, and it's like, okay, counterfactual. Now what? Because like they did not give a flying fuck about Marina Shafir. So now what?
Yeah,
and there's been other examples of the crowds not just ready to go with whatever they do. Like, look at the Cody reaction, look at the Sammy Guevara reaction right now. But like, there's another one for those that say that like these crowds just so anti-WWE, they'll cheer for anything, any old mindless thing that Tony Khan does. Well, he put out a woman with a legit background, and they did not care whatsoever.
Yeah, score 1 point less for it looks like a real fight people. Score 1 point less for, we just need to be overrunning this thing with women's segments. This is like, and I don't think this is necessarily on Shafir and Blue.
It's not. They didn't care because they don't know them.
Yeah, they don't know them. They are kind of in a no-win situation. Like they're window dressing for Jade, and like they had the baddie section being shown, stuff like that. They're obviously trying to get Marina Shafir on TV at least once, and they announced a match for Rampage next Friday with Marina and Jade. It's just a bad presentation thing. Like it's a careless job that was done like for this. Like even if and I saw like people were trying to bang on Marina Shafir pretty hard on that.
She wasn't like she was awful. Like I understand people were like There was
like
one
they were doing the clips, and then it was funny. It was like, oh, they need a
Yeah.
performance center, and it's like, well, where do you think Marina Shafir trained? Like,
Right.
what are you trying to say here?
Right. Right. Like, where do you think she came from? Two, the way that looked, depending on your opinion of it, I saw a lot of people were like, yeah, this actually looks like a competitive grapple between two people. And I was like, I guess you can see it that way. For me, I just saw it as like, it looked like there was a miscommunication once or twice and it wasn't smooth. And like, I don't really think Sky Blue is a person that's trying to, you know, work a Bloodsport match. But it just didn't work, and it wasn't particularly good. And go, you know, next time do something better.
And I think, you know, if you're trying to feature Marina Shafir, give her a win over someone that is like, you know, it kind of matters, that is kind of around, that is seen, that is something where she looks dangerous. And I don't know. I think this is a big swing and miss. And that Marina and Jade match, I hope they have their affairs in order, because I think they're taping that one for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, at least you got the one part where it's like the Jade component where she's so over that like no crowd will ever act like that to one of her matches in AEW. So they have, you know, they have that going for it. And we'll see, you know, when those two get together, because it's like, whoever is helping them or whatever they come up with, like if they can just filter it through the part where like Jade is just big athlete and big impressive athlete, and Marina Shafir is an legitimate ass kicker. Hey, it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that hard for them to actually have a match that's not terrible. It should be. Maybe
Jay was on to something when she said nobody cares about that MMA shit. Maybe she was on to something. We got the announcement of Hook debuting on Dynamite. And Lexi Nair was trying to talk to him, but Mark Sterling and Tony Nese walked in. And I saw this and I was like, see, this is exactly like what, like, if you have Hook, right, and you're trying to enhance Hook, maximize Hook, what would you do? Have him wrestle someone like Tony Nese, who's literally his trainer at Creative Pro.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like he's a trainer at Creative Pro. Okay. And Hook's Dynamite debut is, obviously, we know what Tony Nese is here to do. And anytime I can see Tony Nese, I'm with it. This is going to be awesome. But Hook threw a medicine ball behind him, and Danhausen catches it. More Hook and Danhausen, James. Why do I keep seeing Danhausen here?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I feel like I saw Danhausen do something. Oh, he did something backstage with not backstage, but like a dark match or dark promo with Regal, and that was fucking hilarious. And it's like, know who you're doing this with, right? Like, there might be some people that think it's cute or whatever else that they're doing it with Hook, but like for me, and I get the premise, like Hook is too badass or too cool to get cursed. I get it, but it doesn't work for me personally. I need, like, so when Danhausen comes out here and like he curses William Regal, and William Regal starts fucking limping around the ring and you know about damn ready to take bumps. Like, I thought that was hilarious. Like, it just depends on who actually has the shots for this. And like Regal, you know, he's done a million comedy matches, you know, over the decades. So just an experience thing. It will make it work better. And then you have Moxley and Danielson to vamp off of with that too. So yeah, they got to find new people for Danhausen to do it with, in my opinion.
Then up next, we got the Black All-Star game. We got Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks against Swerve Strickland and Keith Lee. And this match was incredible, to say the least. These guys have been putting in excellent work on Rampage, and the feud gets imported here. Ricky Starks coming out in the all-white hometown babyface, looking like he was about to cry coming in.
That was great.
That was awesome. Hobbs was out there. He's been definitely going hard in the gym. You can tell the physical transformation with him. Swerve comes out, his Dynamite debut, and eyes were on him, and I think he showed, like, I believe Shingo Takagi's words for Swerve were he is the peak embodiment of athleticism or something like that in the Japanese feed. If you guys haven't found the Shingo Takagi translations yet, They're great. Find that on Twitter. It's not too hard to find. The person actually follows me. I don't know their name, but before the end of the show, I will give their information. But yeah, this was excellent. They were just like, they had so much stuff planned. I actually had talked to Swerve ahead of time for this match. Just shoot him a good luck, like, before his big matches, I'll hit him up or whatever. And he was like, I had suggested like this spot because I saw Ricky Starks tweeting about a great match from All Japan. And then I was like, nah, never mind, because I was like, he'll probably get cheered. So I know he's a heel, but he'll probably get cheered in his hometown. But Swerve assured me they had some stuff planned, and boy, did they. Swerve was doing a backflip off Keith Lee's chest. I saw there was a lot of great. There was one time I think he dove off the rope into a spear from Ricky Starks. Lee was doing all his powerhouse stuff. Hobbs is like throwing everyone around. I loved this match, and it was like just it was funny, man. I just heard for so long, I assured people this day would come when Keith Lee would be here, when Swerve would be here, and it's going pretty great. And Hobbs and Starks ended up getting the win. Taz came out and grabbed his leg. Hobbs hit the big spine buster, and I think that shocked a lot of people. Yeah. And he pinned Keith Lee, and it's like, man, I thought it was a big win for Hobbs there, and all four of these guys are more over going out of this thing, I think, than going into it, possibly except with Keith Lee, just because he got pinned. But I don't think that hurt him at all. But I was very happy to see this, and I think there's a big L for a lot of people that were strangely quiet. And that normally, have so much to say about such matters. But I was into this.
Yeah, great match. I gave it 4.25. I thought it was. I don't know which match was actually better, but I think this match is more spectacular than the tag title match. I just like the story of the tag title match more. But both of these matches, I gave them the same rating. I thought like Swerve was awesome, and like I love Keith Lee, and like the Keith Lee and Powerhouse Hobbs stuff is more or less like that's kind of what you saw in the singles match they had like the week before. And Starks really played into how fucking over he was. All throughout the entire match, and like the part where like you said it looked like he wanted to cry. I don't know if it looked like he was about to cry, but he damn sure wanted to. It was fun. I feel. Am I wrong for feeling like if that had been in any other town, the NXT squad would have won? Am I wrong for feeling that way?
Maybe. Yeah.
I think the hometown thing definitely played a factor in Team Taz winning.
Yeah. And I think that's the theme of the week. Like, you can look at the tag match, you can look at Hangman going over on Cole, and it was just like it feels like there's, I don't know, like I haven't worked out the whole thing yet of what I want to say about it, but they're like the AEW people aren't being discarded. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So up next, we had Thunder Rosa presented a cake from Nyla Rose. She got it shoved in her face, but then she hit Vicky Guerrero, but then Nyla Rose still beat Thunder Rosa's ass anyway. So, I know you had sent me a LeBron James You Bum of the Month or Week nomination. I thought Thunder Rosa was not looking great here.
Did I? Yeah,
or it was in one of the group chats.
Look, man, I be forgetting what I say. Like, maybe I did, because it's like she, you put the cake in her face, she punched out her, and then she still laid her out. Like, all right, well then who actually won this segment? Nobody? It was a 3-way tie for this segment? Okay, cool, great. Well, actually, it was a 2-way tie. But, yeah, I didn't know what this was for, other than just to get, well, obviously it was to get Vicky off the table. That's all it was about. Like, to make sure Vicky was going to come out and interfere in their match at Battle of the Bell. So, from that perspective, they accomplished that. As far as like me wanting to see their match more, that didn't do that. Did it make me want to see it less? No, but it just was a push.
ROH TV Championship, Minoru Suzuki versus Samoa Joe. This was excellent. Lots of chops. About 4 or 5 minutes of them. Real man fighting. And then I think there were a lot of astute points people were making about Samoa Joe that I hadn't considered. And these guys were just stiff as fuck with each other, and I guess that's the recipe for when you can't really move around as well, you know, and as you're used to, or fly around. Like, well, we're gonna have to make it look like it hurts a lot, and then, you know, and just hit hard and make that shit sound phenomenal. So Suzuki drops the title to Joe here. This was excellent. I think I went 4 stars with this one, and it was just like, damn, we actually got the real match. Like, there wasn't like Suzuki didn't show, like, obviously with Suzuki there's always a shtick factor, but I feel like he got to really do him in this, and people understood why Suzuki here. And Joe, this was like, you know, this is the best Samoa Joe match I feel like I've seen in years.
So the things that you thought were good points about Samoa Joe, what was it? Was it just like, what did you hear that stood out to you as far as were good points that you saw online?
They said, well, you know, he was going to have trouble in WWE as the further he went on in his career, because he just wouldn't be allowed to hit people that hard anymore. And it's like the key for him as he was going to get older was to hit harder and get stiffer. Mm-hmm. And here it looks like he'll at least he'll be able to do that. He can hit hard in safe places, but
okay,
I don't know. Like, and you know, he'll be wrestling. He won't have to hold up to a full-time schedule.
Right.
He can peak for whatever he does, and I'm not gonna say like he looks like he's in great shape or anything because it's Samoa Joe, but
he still like comes out and he's a weird color.
Yeah. So like he's got to work on that, but I mean, I don't know if that's something you work on. It's just, you know, it's just what happens. Like you, I thought this was a good presentation for him. And then, but what'd you think about the match?
Love the match. Like you mentioned, like favorite Joe match in years. Probably since like the AJ stuff in 2018. Mm-hmm. Gave it 4 flat stars like you did. And it reminded me, it was basically like a chopped version of the Nagata and Suzuki match from 2020. Just like veteran guys, older, can't really do things they used to do, but as you get older, you just basically brawl more. You become a better brawler. Like everybody does that, from Jazz to Nagata to everybody, like Jericho, like everyone's learned this lesson. Like if you can't move like you used to, you're going to have to start turning this shit into a brawl. Terry Funk learned that too. So for me, watching them basically just chop each other and then sell, not sell, fire up, you know, and have them having their great facial expressions that they have is like, that's what they do now. And it wasn't out of place. And like, I remember saying to you, I don't know if this was on air or off air, but like, I think you had injury concerns for Joe. And my point was like, which is perfectly fine given that, you know, he's been broke up a lot in WWE. But my thing was just like, okay, if he isn't in AEW, I don't think they're going to ask him to wrestle 80 or 90 or 80 times like they did his last 2 years in WWE. That was fucking stupid. So like, if he's only going to wrestle between Ring of Honor and AEW, if he's only going to wrestle like, I don't even think he's going to wrestle probably 40, 35 dates in a year, he's going to be pretty damn good. It's still Samoa fucking Joe, right? Like, and you saw this formula is that he's going to be a straight up brawler, and right, and like he's going to have matches that don't go long. Then I think he's going to be still damn good because it's Samoa Joe. Like, so like, yeah, like. He's going to have his run, and like when we get to Eddie Kingston, it's going to be big time. Do you hear me? When we get like, I was hoping that, you know, that he was going to still be able to show us something. After that, like once we get to Samoa Joe Eddie Kingston promo battle, it's going to be big time. Oh my god, the promos are going to be off the fucking chart. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
That's going to be awesome. But then after that, we had Jay Lethal sitting ringside with Sanjay Dutt. They had promised to give Joe a gift Jay Lethal instantly give us givable material, pulls out the middle finger from the gift basket, and then all of a sudden the lights go out, and then hold on, the lights went out, and then when they cut them back on, it was Satnam Singh standing in the ring, and it took me a second before I realized who it was. I was like, oh, that's the big Indian guy that they signed like a year ago that they had stashed away. And crowd goes silent. The physicality looks less than great. And it's just like, what the hell was this? Like, after this awesome show, it was like the only thing people were talking about. And I was like, did we miss like the two great tag matches in the main event? I'm like, bro, let's have some perspective here. Right. Like, the sky is not falling here from this, angle, whatever. And Tony Khan came out later and talked about, he made a mistake with this one, and he listened to someone that has 30 years experience, blah blah blah, and all that. And then immediately there was a correction with Singh the next time we saw him on, I think it was Rampage, if I'm not mistaken.
No, the end of Battle.
No, it was Battle of the Bells. Okay. And he already looked better than he did before. I personally was like, I'm not really, there's a lot of talk about what AEW fans like and would accept, and things as far as like, hey, they see a giant and they don't know how to react to him and all this. So I'm like, oh, I don't really, wrestling is where we're at now. It's 2022, James. It's like, how many good giants are there? How many good giants have there ever been? There's also an element I think you can't ignore as far as, the business aspect for India, which every company tries this to middling to no success, if any. And I feel like every one of them fall into the same trap where it's like, okay, there's a big heel wrestler. It's like, why does no one ever try to do this with a baby face ever? Is like, are you afraid to try to get them over? Like, is it just racism? Like what is it? Like, just go ahead and, I don't know. If it was me and I was like, yo, I want to try to make a star for a country, I think they took the easy way out as far as like, hey, just make him a heel. And, ultimately, he's going to have a very limited role. He's going to be a heater, probably standing ringside, doing run-ins, and he's going to be next to Jay Lethal. So, and he'll cut promos. I believe he speaks Punjab, if I'm not mistaken. I saw one promo of him, and he's going to be doing that stuff with Sanjay Dutt, and Sanjay Dutt can talk. And they're putting them three together as an act. And I think there's a lot that's going into this. There's things that they're trying here, and it's like, I'd like to see the guy at least wrestle or have a match before I just throw him in the trash. But that initial presentation, no. Crowd was like, what is going on here? You cannot put someone out there in a lights off, lights on situation, and the majority of people don't know who they are. The
vast majority, yeah.
I knew who that was, but I'm a sicko, so
yeah, I had no idea who it was. When I saw you say the name, I was like, oh, okay. Why? It, like, me, like, when people bring out people at the end of a match or whatever else that weren't previously involved in this person's career or character arc or whatever else, or just bring somebody else, like, I hate the basically, like, we're getting out of this, we're moving on to the next chapter by bringing out somebody seemingly at random to now move on. Like, I hated that shit when they did it with Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez. I hated that shit then. I hated that shit when Bray Wyatt would bring his ass in the middle of a Hell in a Cell match to save Seth Rollins for no reason whatsoever. Like, so for me, yeah, like, it wasn't gonna work for me. So I whatever. As far as writing him off because he's big, nah, bruh. I don't write off wrestlers because they're big or ridiculously big. Like, Shaq just fucking worked here. What are we talking about? We just had a fucking giant here last year, and the match was a smashing success. What are we talking about?
Oh, and he's also training with the same people that Shaq was.
Yeah,
trained by. Like, and when does QT Marshall produce bad wrestlers?
I don't know what his track record is, but for me, it's just like, we'll see how it goes. If this is just a play to try to, make a play for India, it's like, best of luck, bro. Best of luck. I don't care. Like, as long as it is good television, I do not care who's on my screen. If it's bad television, I'll be like, why are you putting this fucker on my screen? They just gave me bad television.
Yeah.
I'm not that hard to please. I'm really not. Good wrestling, sensible storytelling, be funny, be charismatic. Any of those 4 things work for me. I won't really complain much.
Yeah, I think this was a lesson to learn. Like, but I think of course, like, this thing's built around Jay Lethal. Jay Lethal's about to get like a lot here, and
it looks that way.
Yeah, there's look, the Jay Lethal Wrestling for Respect tour, as we've mentioned, like, it's going to take some folks some places. So
do you think this actually is going to play out on AEW television, or you think like the match is just all to build a match to get you to buy like the next big pay-per-view for Ring of Honor?
I have no I don't know what Ring of Honor's schedule is, so like I would assume it plays out in AEW at the moment. I do think there is a case like with AEW right now, they have a lot of stuff going on, and you look at this show where it's like, man, we got like a 30-second video package maybe with Adam Cole and Hangman Page. Yeah. There wasn't that much. There's I think there's a lot of complaints about Hangman Page not being more of a focus on the show at this point.
Really?
Oh yeah. Like, and I don't think people like this guy or anything, but I came across like some analysis from Jim Cornette that I happen to agree with. It was like, why are we pushing Wheeler Yuta harder than Hangman Page right now? And
because one's already made and already at a top level, the other one we're trying to make.
Really? Like, and he for all the making, he's still going to be the number 3 person in his unit. It's like, where is Hangman Page? Why is he not cutting a promo? Like, why is he like it just feels like they're going so soft with him. But I think that he'll be able to benefit from that, because I feel like they're trying. They saw a taste of like what could happen with Hangman when they got to Orlando, and then there were boos for him. Like, so I think what's going on is they've pulled back a little with him, because like they're trying to ensure that he doesn't get turned on.
Well, I think that the people that were worried about the boos thing, like they never discredited, or they never thought about the part where like they were in Orlando, Florida, where Adam Cole was basically like a top guy in that area for like 4 years. And I said this to you at the time when it happened. And then like, there were people that mentioned like, well, Florida's our state has this stupid homophobic bill, and then he showed up with in rainbow colors, so people may have booed him for that too. And it's like, well, he's not gonna be this road trip. He hasn't been to Florida. He hasn't gotten any of that reaction since then. He's been beating the shit out of Adam Cole up and down, and then also Red Dragon up and down since then. No one's rejected him since then. Like, I think people were overreacting off of one bad thing because of the area they were in.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you look at it, like when we'll get to it when we get to Rampage, like I didn't hear no boos for Adam Page on from the Friday show.
Same.
Yeah.
But I think it is worth noting though, like I think they do need to go harder with him, especially like, when CM Punk's going to come in his orbit. I think everyone's going to be like, all right, it's time to get on Punk now and all this stuff. Like, and it's going to be.
Well, he said it with Danielson too, and then look what happened.
And I'm here to let people know right now.
How many times you got to show him? How many times does Adam Cole have to show him prove to you that like this dude is perfectly fine as a champion, and the shit ain't cratered since he's been the champion. He's been the main event slot, and like outside of CM Punk, his matches are like the second most important thing on these pay-per-views. He's been fine. I don't understand why people are freaking out about this. Is it just that people want to freak out just to freak out?
I hope people are ready for Hangman Page to hit this man with a buckshot lariat and pour beer on him. Like, that's what's happening here. Well, he's not going to do all that, but just see the vision real quick, But Hangman Page is beating CM Punk. I'm letting everybody know that right now.
I understand that CM Punk has like said that he wants that match. Just because he wants that match doesn't mean he's going to get it right now.
Oh, they're going that way for Double or Nothing. There's nothing else like.
Why would you say? why would you do that in Vegas when you're going to do All Out in Chicago? Why would you waste a CM Punk title defense and not get it in Chicago?
Well, maybe they're going to Chicago before that in June. So
yeah, but they're still going to go.
I don't think they worry about selling tickets in Chicago. They were selling tickets in Chicago long before CM Punk showed up.
Right. Okay, but my thing is this, all right? So you're going to do United
Maybe
Center.
All Out's not in Chicago.
Okay, let's say it's not. You're going to do a super show at the United Center. You're going to do it where the most important person to draw has just lost a title defense a month before.
Whether CM Punk wins or loses will have no bearing on what he would draw in Chicago. And also, I don't think CM Punk will be...
Maybe, but it definitely won't help.
I think the draw of New Japan and AEW is the strongest thing in this, and then CM Punk.
I've seen one of them. I've seen one of them sell out the United Center. I haven't seen either of the other ones sell out the United Center. So I'll kind of go with CM Punk, but we'll see. We'll see. If it were me, I would come up with a Christian or somebody else to come out here and come get dead-eyed in Las Vegas, and then and then Page and Punk is where I would do that at the United Center. That's what I would do. Everyone's concerned, worried about doing all these matches and interpromotional matches. How about this? How about we put CM Punk for the title in the United Center, sell that bitch out, and then we'll put everything else after that with it. Whatever match you have after that, no one would care. They'll just show up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I wouldn't rule that out.
Yeah, I just can't see anyone else on the horizon. They'd have to cook somebody up real fast, essentially. And, they've done that before, but I don't know who it would be.
If you want to add fuel to this thing, you can have Page versus MJF, and then have you have Wardlow fuck him.
I think they're doing Wardlow and MJF next, and MJF's been losing a bunch of matches, so him going back into...
But, I meant really lose, but sure.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but we had...
But then again, MJF never really loses the same way he never really wins either. Everything's a bullshit thing in all his matches, so never mind. I withdraw all that I just said. Never mind.
Geico asks, how would you love a chance to save some money on insurance? Of course you would. And when it comes to great rates on insurance, Geico can help. Like with insurance for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, and RV. Even help with homeowners or renters coverage. Plus, add an easy-to-use mobile app, available 24-hour roadside assistance and more, and Geico is an easy choice. Switch today and see all the ways you could save. It's easy. Simply go to geico.com or contact your local agent today.
Then we got Rampage, and that was on the Friday at 7 p.m. So
I botched. I looked up. I was because normally I end up watching Stardom shows on Tuesdays or Fridays. So I watched the April 4th or April 10th show, and I was I had totally forgot that Rampage was on at 7, and all of a sudden I looked up. It was I just got done with the Stardom show, and it was 7:35 or something. And I was oh shit, Dynamite just started. And I was well, I'll kick it down the road and watch it later. I'm not finna tune in halfway. But ended up watching it today.
So we started with BCC against the Gun Club. This is how I had sent a message to a group chat. I was they allowed Wheeler Yuta to pin Billy Gunn. And Billy Gunn's very protected in this promotion. We all know this. I'm how big is the Wheeler Yuta push going to get? Where does it stop?
Look, I don't think he's really pushed. I just think that he's 6'5" and everybody else is 5'9". He caught him with a European clutch he's Zack Sabre Jr. Fine. He caught him with a roll up.
Yeah.
A fancy. It's not a schoolboy, but it may as well have been a schoolboy. And had he not had that in his bag, he would have pulled out the schoolboy club.
Yeah. They never lose. The Gun Club. Billy Gunn rarely goes off his feet.
Yeah.
You saw he didn't give an inch to Darby the last time they fought.
He did
damn
not.
near.
But he did get turned inside out for a Moxley lariat, which I laughed at because he's so much bigger than Moxley.
Yeah. So I don't know. BC goes over.
Yeah. Fun little match.
Yeah. After that, we had the Butcher squashing somebody. I don't know who the fuck it
Barrett
was.
Brown was the name.
Okay. Butcher.
They even get the title, like the graphic up to say his name. They just announced it on commentary.
To fuck them up.
Yeah, it was like 30 seconds if that.
Then we cut to backstage, and it was time for Dustin Rhodes to catch a religious experience like he does. This happens all the time. They will put a camera on him backstage. He will start talking, and then he'll say he wants a match, and then he'll announce who he wants to fight, and then it's on. Yeah. So he said he's been out on his road for a while. He took Lance Archer out, but he has to prove he still has it. Tonight he has something special. He hopes the fans are going to listen. He's making a challenge to one of the greatest wrestlers on the planet, someone who's a dream match of his. He's challenging CM Punk, best in the world, versus the Natural on Dynamite. He knows for a fact they're going to blow the roof off, and I can't wait. I'm always happy to see Dustin Rhodes on the screen. So Punk versus Dustin next week.
Looking forward to it. Like they're right up each other's alley. They really are.
This is going to be some 1994 WCW ass match. I feel like
it's going to be good though. Like I have no doubt this match is going to be good.
So we got Ruby Soho versus Robin Renegade, and this is a Owen Hart Cup qualifier match. Yep. So they were having an all right match. I think Robin Renegade has some presence. They didn't let her chop like she has before, but like she's She like she's gonna be decent, or at the least decent. I had no idea that she was a twin, and there was another Robin. There's another Charlotte Renegade.
I had no idea there was a Renegade. There were Renegade twins. I only knew Robin. So because she had like one or two matches on TV before. So they did twin. They tried to do the twin magic, but it's so funny. Like Ruby came out and she still got juice. Off the entrance, and she's getting her stuff in, she's getting like striking in, and her striking looks good, and then they do the twin magic deal, and like Ruby never finds out or figures out. Same thing for Bryce Rinsberg. Neither one of them figure out like the twin magic thing is happening, but she still wants both of her asses. I was like, God damn, what a baby face. God damn. I mean, beat him up 2-1. I don't even know what's happening. Still, getting Khan, still winning. I think at the end she, what did she want? She wanted like an inverted crossroads. I don't know what she calls it, but she's
kind of looked like the Sister Abigail,
or like an inverted one.
Yeah.
So it still ends up getting the win, and then like both of the twins like come up out the apron, come from underneath the apron, and they both walk up the ramp, and then like Price and Ruby are looking at us like, wait, what the fuck? was there a switcheroo? Oh well, I won. Raise my hand. I was like, that's funny, but it was like it wasn't some good match, but it was entertaining for the nonsense for the goofy twin magic thing that was in it.
Yeah. Then we got the Texas Death Match for the AEW World Championship. Hangman Adam Page against Adam Cole. Baby. Adam Cole came out wearing jeans, and I immediately knew he was losing. There's no way you're winning your first world title in a promotion wearing jeans, especially if that's not the regular thing you wrestle with.
Wait, what? When did you discover this?
I immediately, the second he came out, I was
no. Like, were you being funny, or is it like, nah, there's zero precedence for happening, so it's not happening? Well,
like
obviously we knew he wasn't going to win anyway, but still.
Right. But I was like, think about it. Like, does it make sense for somebody to like come out here and they normally wear wrestling pants and everything to win it in some type of death match wearing jeans? Like, no, man. Like,
I don't know, because like I could have seen Dusty Rhodes winning a title like in some bloody ass match,
like his first one ever. Like,
it's the 80s. Who gives a shit?
Nah, man. And I feel like if we go into the 80s, that's a long way to go to travel.
I know. I was just saying any old name. You can name any old fighting ass dude that'll come out here and deathmatch wrestler and come show us
like
jeans that could have made that. This
Shawn Michaels wasn't about to show up wearing jeans at WrestleMania 12. It
wasn't. I guess what I'm coming at is like, that's the blow off match. Obviously, you come out in the street clothes. Like I'm sure there's been some. You sure Triple H hasn't won a title like that in street clothes?
I can't think of him ever winning a championship in street clothes personally, but
all his best matches are death matches, though.
Yeah, but he liked to wear his regular wear or whatever.
Okay.
Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho coming out in the jeans stuff like against CM Punk, he wasn't gonna fucking win, and that wasn't even his first one.
If Triple H never done it out, and if I go back and find out Triple H never done it, then I'll agree with you. It's never happened. Is that fair?
Sure, but like I said, I knew Adam Cole wasn't gonna win because he showed up wearing jeans.
You knew he wasn't gonna win before he even came out. You just being see, that's my point. Is like you trying to be funny, but anyway, to you, we derailed the show over that bullshit.
Hangman Page came out with the jeans with the tassels on them, so tasseled jeans for you boys.
Yeah, two different colors of brown too. He had like the tan boots with a brown belt, and I'm like, at least. You close, but nah, man. Like, if you gonna wear some tan boots, you gotta wear a tan belt. If you gonna wear some brown boots, you gotta wear a brown belt. If you gonna wear some black boots, you gotta wear a black belt. Like, it's not. Come on, man. Come on, Adam. Come on.
Yeah, Cole's a little close to me. I wasn't looking that close, but
at first I thought it was a black belt. That's how dark the damn belt was.
Hangman Page beat the shit out of this boy. As we said that would happen on this show, and he did all this in cowboy boots. There was a sick spot where he does the moonsault that he does to the outside of the ring. Cole works in like a super kick counter for it. Was awesome. I enjoyed this match. I thought it was like a lot of Adam Cole wearing it like as he's prone to do in these death matches.
CZW.
Yeah, he's like. He'll put his body on the line for that shit. Like when Paige gave him like the attitude adjustment across the two chairs, I was like, "Yep, that's out of the Adam Cole playbook."
Yep.
He's taken stuff like this before, but this is
like the second he set him up, I was like, "I know he's going over. I know he's going over those."
Yeah. This was another exhibition for Hangman to assert his dominance, show that Cole's nowhere near on his level, and like. They're riding with the Hangman now, slip and slide. But yeah, this was an awesome match. And then the finish was great. Put the crown of barbed wire around his head, gave him the dead eye through the table that's set up outside the ring. Another excellent defense for Hangman. Looks very strong. I don't know where I was rating wise on this, but I don't know.
I had it for a flat. For me, watching it, I'm calling out spots before they happen because like I've seen enough of these Adam Cole matches to know like where the stuff goes in his death matches, and also like there was almost no wrestling in the match. It was they brawled up to in the crowd. Someone hands him a beer. Hopefully that was a plan. That wasn't a real beer because he opened it was like a fresh bottle of beer. They come back down. And then, like, they're just, like, hit somebody with some shit, super kick, hit somebody with some shit. And, like, it wasn't much wrestling. And then the point where it turned around, I was like, this is good, but, like, I'm not in love with it. And then they sat down in the chairs together and traded forearms. And I was like, from that moment on, they got me. The one thing that I will say that, like, I wish they had done is, or after this point, like they call back the spot with the handcuffing and buckling with the belt on the ropes, and while the other person is left there to be defenseless. Adam Cole did it to him. The lead up to their match at Revolution. The Revolution, Cole did it back to Paige did it back to Cole. And, like, the crowd forgot literally what happened the day before or 2 days before. So, like, they booed the babyface for getting his just vengeance. So, almost in a way to like, you know, because I guess they felt like, well, this crowd didn't realize what the story we're telling. They did this again, and Paige was going to hit him with a gimmick chair that they had barbed wire on it, and then he decided against doing it at the end. And then he goes to basically after this, he did this after Cole had said like, it's funny, he's like, you'll never beat me, you'll never beat Omega, and it's like, I've already done both, but whatever, like, you know. But
I don't think he said beat. I thought he said B.
Oh, okay. I thought he said beat, and I was like, wait, what?
And I think a lot of people thought he said beat, but I was like, I swear he said you'll never be Kenny Omega.
It don't matter. It was just one of those things where you have to say the Omega name to get Paige to get hot and want to go over the edge with it. So he goes and grabs that chair and decides to get at the last second, and then he goes to unbuckle Cole, and then as he unbuckles him, he gets low blow, and I was like, yeah, I figured he's going to low blow before he even was going. I thought he was going to go to try to swing the chair and he's going to get a low blow then, but this works even better. So they continue around and they get up outside on the apron, and Cole teased like he's about to do the Panama Sunrise off the apron through the table that's right below them on the floor. And this is after Paige has already wrapped his arm around the barbed wire around his arm. So I thought what he's going to do was like, he was going to try to do the whole deal where, you know, he gets, you know, about to get into the position, and then he was going to stop him in the midsection, low blow him with the barbed wire after, because to pay him back for the low blow, and then he was going to dead eye him, but instead he stopped him and then just basically clotheslined him or went across his head with like a crossface, and then he ended up giving a dead eye and ended it. I thought it was a great finish, and like basically stretched from the brawl when they're both sitting on chairs. Through the rest of the match, it was great. So I ended up giving it 4 stars. Great match, another great defense for Hangman. I will say, like, this was a great match. I still think the Archer match was better. But yeah, I ain't got no complaints. I ain't got no complaints and no notes really for Adam Page. Like he's been a great champion. He's had great defense. He has great matches. He's in there with a top hot guy like Adam Cole, and he sent his ass packing twice, and Adam Cole have had some pretty just, maybe it's because they wanted to be more than just standard wrestling. Maybe that's why his complaints are, is like, it's not some larger than life thing, but like, it's just simple wrestling. So people want more. Maybe that might be what it is with him, but like,
I think they want the champion to be the hottest person on the show.
I mean, I guess, but like, that's not the point of pro wrestling. That's not the point of good pro wrestling. The point of good pro wrestling is to have like multiple things all be very good at the same time, and then like when it's someone's time to change the title, is their turn, and like that person that was champion then moves on and does more good things, opposed to like we have to make the whole thing around this person, and like we can't make anything interesting aside from on this TV, and then like we are just like a shit show unless that person's on TV. That's not a good. Hangman, that's not a healthy roster.
I was having a conversation with Josh, and we were talking about, you know, he brought up a point like, you know, the reason why Hangman was getting over a lot, and it might be because, you know, as much as we enjoy like his big matches and stuff like that, it's maybe that's not the thing that got him over. You know, like, and what got him over was like the story of his rise against being juxtaposition against the elite, and then the cowboy shit stuff, and then the beer. And there hasn't been a lot of that, where obviously there's been no elite. There hasn't been any beer and all that stuff of late either.
Adam Page is also still more over than anybody not named CM Punk right now in the company. What kind of complaint is that? You're not as over as CM fucking Punk? Should he retire?
No, he shouldn't retire, but the thing is, I think he's getting a lot of this stuff because he doesn't feel like a dynamic personality that is commanding time be carved out for him.
He wasn't a dynamic personality when the company first started, or a year ago, or 6 months ago, or 7 months ago. My point is, the crowd still cheers for him when he's on screen. Nothing like. There's no metric other than complaining to complain for me as far as what's going on. Like, he's not having bad matches. He's not having bad segments. He's still super over. His opponent gets heat whenever against him. He hasn't been, outside of one night in Orlando in Adam Cole country, he hasn't been rejected by, or booed or any 50-50, with any other heel he's been involved with. I think he's been perfectly fine. if he's not CM Punk, if the thing is you have to be CM Punk or the top guy in the company or get out, then it was like, well, then they should never put the belt on to begin with, right? Because he's never been the top guy in the company.
Yeah,
he's probably never going to be the top guy in the company. There's always going to be an Adam Cole or a Cody Rhodes or a Kenny Omega or a John Moxley or Bryan Danielson or Chris Jericho. Sorry. That's not the point of this. The point of this was to have a number of guys that were all old enough to be champion. He's in that group of people.
Mm-hmm.
He's a champion right now. It's his turn.
It's enough for me, but I feel like, like I wanted to see more as far as, just him monopolizing time on the show. And they have a lot that they're going on. Like the ROH stuff is being worked in now.
Yeah.
Let alone like the Blackpool Combat Club, I feel is eating all the fucking innings right now.
It's John Moxley and Danielson.
Right. And it's like he can't interact with either of them. So like for the foreseeable future. So the more everything like just gets pushed, it makes me wonder like where is his shit gonna continue to come from? Like I feel like they have to put CM Punk with him, or else he's just gonna drop lower like as far as like what people are interested in him doing.
I don't know, man. Like I don't think if he is not the most.
And he's won me over. He's completely won me over. But I'm just looking at it like, all right, like, what's up?
So are you saying like the champion has to be the most important thing on the company or the most important thing in the program? Is that how people are feeling?
I feel like people are like, he's not even the second most important thing on the program.
I'm shrugging. It's like, okay, is he doing bad work though?
Depends who you ask.
Obviously, the answer is no. But it's just like I feel like these are like the smallest. I feel like these are like the nitpickiest things on earth. Like to me, like so. We were talking about this with Shuri going into World Climax, where she only had one title defense from the time she won the belt December 29th to literally those back-to-back defenses on 26th, 27th of March. So it's like there were, that's a long-ass time between to only have one defense. And like, but at that point in time, you have Julia come back with this new group with these two new added goons for DDM. You have the Queen's Quest and Oedo Tai stuff, and then you have Prominence coming in to invade Stardom to get a hold of Julia and DDM, right? So Shuri is involved in some of that DDM versus Prominence stuff, but like you could say like as far as storyline and stuff was going, like she was on the back burner or whatever else. And then like she has the one match with Julia, and it has a match with Mayu, and then like you're like, okay, well like the biggest thing for the rest of the year is probably gonna be Julia and Shuri. Now that like she's left and whatever, so it's like for me, it's like they're fine. You can flip a switch. Like if you're saying the switch is CM Punk, fine. But but it could be anybody. Like they're doing great work. All it takes is someone that's on that, or someone that's a real threat to come in. So like, they already did Danielson. Like they could do, there's a point where they could do Moxley as like, they fully turn Moxley heel. Like seemed like it was headed to before he went into rehab. Right. And they could use the Blackpool Combat Club as the full thing to take it as a full deep dive into him being a heel again. Or a heel for the first time in AEW. Like, so, like, there's more than just CM Punk's options to do this. But I'm not necessarily in a rush to just burn CM Punk's first defenses. I feel like CM Punk shouldn't be champion right now.
Yeah, I think Hangman should beat CM Punk. I'm afraid of the reaction.
But you also recognize like how people are going to act when that happens.
Yes, like people, I feel like people are going to like lose their minds. Like this is a tragic mistake, and I'm like, yo, I'm not taking the belt off a 30-year-old world champion, putting it on a guy in his mid-40s. I'm not doing it. Like, no. Like, I don't care if it's CM Punk. Like, especially like I feel like Hangman's like he's the one that needs to be running through these people, like, and the general belt, like, and I'm not saying CM Punk isn't this special person that you would break this rule for, right? Because there are obvious exceptions, but like, I'm looking at the AEW title. I feel like it should be like the best, like, 30 to 35 year olds in the promotion, unless there's like a great reason to give it to somebody either earlier or later.
I don't necessarily disagree.
So, after that, we got Battle of the Belts, and I saw this card on paper, and I was like, "This is different." Like, and then I feel like TNT told Tony Khan he wasn't getting 2 hours for this, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not." And then here you go, I'm just toss you. You know, I feel like they mailing these shits in.
Oh yeah,
and we got the first match there. We got Scorpio Sky versus Sammy Guevara, and title change back to Sammy Guevara. Good match, I would say. I think him and Scorpio are capable of a better match.
Yeah.
But they get the belt back. Sammy does the low blow at the end, hits him with the go to hell, pins him. There's a lot of chaos on the outside of the ring with Ty Conti and Paige Van Zant. There's Dan Lambert like yelling and doing all this other stuff. Ethan Page ends up split open somehow. I forgot what happened. But
was it off of the Shooting Star Press?
Maybe. Yeah, I think it was. And that
like,
shit, bro, I saw that shit.
When he landed, I didn't see him get split, but like when they caught him, like, it wasn't some clean catch. It was like he almost like basically like landed on them and immediately like parted between them pretty fast, as if like something happened. So it makes sense if he got split and he basically like kind of sort of dropped him after he got hit before they making like a soft landing to the ground. So I can see that.
Yep, a lot of people lost their minds. Sammy Guevara getting his belt. He's the new most hated man on Twitter. I feel like it's really as bad as it ever was, and he's kissing Ty Conti after the match. I would think he's heel. I think that was a heel turn, but
I mean, that's what it looked like to me. It looked like the beginning of a slow burn because the commentators are even questioning whether or not like it was returning or fair play, if you will, and then they went along and just said like, hey, at the end, Sauter was like, yeah, he took a liberty that he should not have taken. Was like, okay, like this is a path towards him turning heel, which is like, we talked about how he's getting a lot of shit because he's kind of being slotted into the Cody the Cody role, and then like Ty is also being slotted into the Brandy role. Like now, because we ain't got some stupid mandate that like some act can't turn him heel. Yeah. Like they're turning him heel, which is like, watch if this is the case, watch how he runs with it.
Look. It's like all these 4-star matches have never happened, James.
Yeah.
It's like this man didn't go out there and have a killer match pretty much every time out. His first defense, his second defense, or his second, his first reign, his second reign, and then when he lost it, like, and then like, what do you think he's going to do? Like, I heard so many people say the TNT title is now devalued because it's on Sammy Guevara. You have all these people under this contract, and you have Sammy Guevara as the champion. I'm like, I'm sorry, Sammy Guevara is one of the best wrestlers in this fucking country. What are you saying? Like,
I would say that I do. They are getting too cute with these quick ass title reigns, and like some of it is based off of the uncertainty around Cody, but like we have had just from, let's say, the start of Hanukkah, right? Guevara was champion, lost it to like the week of Christmas week from to Cody. Sammy gets it back. Then it goes to Scorpio Sky, and now it's back on Sammy. We've had 5 title changes, or we've had 5 different title reigns since Hanukkah. It's not. It was just Easter just the other day or just yesterday. Like, it is too much. But like they can solidify this really quickly. All it takes is one solid title reign, and we're back on track.
Yeah, like I think so.
I wouldn't have done it. I agree with people that say this is too many title changes.
I think the Scorpio Sky reign looks kind of weird at this point, but as far as Sammy being like this albatross for the belt, whether he's a face or a heel, right? Like, we saw what he did as a face with it, and he was awesome. So if people really want to hate this guy, get worked. That's all I'm saying. Get worked. Like, he's going to give you something to like. All I can hear is like this. He has this punchable face and all this stuff, and I'm like,
he's always had a punchable face, though.
I don't know what that means. I don't want to punch him in the face, but I guess this is just
people like me, when he was coming out with the panda stuff in the beginning of 2019. He basically like saying like, you look like a dick. That's all that means. You like a jerk.
Yeah,
like that's all that means. Like, he's always like that, but like that's not some deal breaker to where you can't get over as a baby face when need be, because he did that, and people that have punchable faces do that also in all of pro wrestling. Like, it's always been the case. So like, it's not the end of the world. It's just a thing to point out. Be like, yeah, that's kind of true. Oh well, like, he's gonna be they're gonna turn him heel, and it's gonna work because he's very talented. And like, when he first came to the company, he started as a heel, and it worked. He's in the inner circle. He was a dependent for the inner circle. Now he's on a bigger stage,
and he's got
it'll
heat.
Work.
And he's got heat. He's got people really mad. So, and I, obviously I came on here, and I think the easy thing is like, he's allowed to turn. So like, there's no excuse making here. There's no water being carried for this. It's like, all right, Sammy's going to be a heel. We already know he's a great heel. And he actually has something he can kind of tap into, as far as like the Ty Conti thing. He's going to tell people to be mad, and they're going to get mad.
It's gonna be funny, like when he does the card stuff. The card stuff he does, like during and it's gonna be shit to get heat. That's gonna be fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
he'll be talking bad about it. He'll be writing all that mean shit to that crowd about how they stink or what. They're not how they stink, but a point like
how you have no hot woman. Yes, it's gonna be great.
Stuff. It's gonna be funny.
It's going to be great. Like, I can't wait. And it's going to be a lot of people like question themselves, like, why am I so mad at this? Like, it's going to be, and that shit would have been like, oh, I started hating them before they were heels and shit like that. I'm like, all right, y'all walking into the booby trap. They set the trap just to see dudes react, like Jay-Z said. But I'm big Sammy Guevara fan. Will continue to enjoy his work.
My thing is like, the booker is listening to the crowd. Like, y'all been booing him or whatever else, and he's getting bad reactions. So now they're turning him heel. Like, it's pro wrestling.
Yeah.
There's one element in place like before, or beginning or last year. They just didn't want to buck that trend and made the show like less fun for it, like watching all the time. So like, he turns heel, great. That's what he's supposed to do.
Yep.
Like what? Like
and that's why I kind of push back on he's the new Cody thing. I kind of push back on that. I'm like, no, like,
no, like, cause like, it's just pro wrestling. Like, you get like, you hope to have people do the things, or you hope that the crowd reacts the way you want them to. But if they don't, then you make adjustments accordingly. That's always been pro wrestling. Like that's how Rocky Maivia becomes The Rock. It took fucking forever, but that's how, the big dog turns to the tribal chief. It's pro wrestling. I don't know why this is so different.
Look,
maybe it was because they used to be Cody.
Look, if y'all don't like him, I suggest y'all chill. Y'all fuck around and create a star. Y'all gonna fuck around and create a star. Y'all gonna hate yourselves. Or excuse me, y'all create a superstar and y'all gonna hate yourselves. But yeah. After that, we got Jonathan Gresham versus Dalton Castle for the ROH title. Talk about dropping something on us out of nowhere. I heard that match announced, and I was like, I don't care about this. I can't imagine anyone else caring about it. Then they had a match, and I just thought it was a helping of Mid.
Well, it's because you don't like Jonathan Gresham, so like it was a good match. I thought it was better than the Sammy Guevara match, but that's not really saying much. Like these are matches that are like anywhere from 3 to 3.25. They're fine. Like I thought the match was strange because like, you know, like Dalton Castle, like he's still out here with them big ass trunks, and he's still out here with this back brace on, like he's looking like fucking late 80s, early 90s Larry Bird, and like he started wearing that back brace in 2019 from what I remember, and I was like, yo, is he okay? And then he's out here, it's 2022, and he's still in his fucking back brace, like, yo, you might.
So it's like Cassidy, it gets no better.
Like, I was about to say, like, maybe he should consider, like, whatever's going on with him, like, maybe this isn't worth it, but apparently it is to him. But, the whole match is like, or not the whole match, but most of the match, especially at the beginning, is like, Gresham is giving him and all this stuff to get him over and do all his quirkiness or whatever else, and the crowd starts to like it. And then eventually over time, Gresham wears him down, and he ends up getting, the octopus hold, and Dalton has to tap. And I thought to myself, like, okay, so and then it leads to the you know, the run-ins at the end or whatever else. But I was kind of like, at the end of it, I was looking like, okay, so like, you know, they did, you know, Joe makes a save for I mean, because you're gonna have to go through, but like, at the end, I was kind of like, huh, like I don't know how much this really did for Gresham. But
exactly.
go through the end. Go through the end, or so like the post-match stuff.
Yeah, Gresham gets the win. I believe it was a submission, if I'm not mistaken.
It was an octopus hold. Basically like, you know, the arm, almost like a hydrangea without the leg lock part at the end.
There was some spot in the corner. It was like the longest 16 seconds of my life. They were
where they were basically ducking each other a bunch of times to the crowd, and the crowd kept popping for it. Yeah,
I was like, all right. Then I guess the end of the match, Satnam Singh came out with Jay Lethal, destroyed the boys in the walkway with double choke slams. Thought those looked pretty good for him. They immediately put Satnam Singh in with Jonathan Gresham. I was like, this is why I love this company. They gave it to me right when I was thinking the first time I saw Satnam Singh. Got a couple funny screen caps out of that. Jay Lethal jumps on Gresham from there. As you mentioned, the Satnam Singh drops a one knee and then chokeslams Jonathan Gresham. And I don't think I could laugh any harder, but I had a hearty laugh at that moment. They then Samoa Joe came out for the save, the ROH TV champion, and Joe looks like a 30 times bigger star than Jonathan Gresham. And he's the secondary ROH champion.
Yep. Yeah. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, okay, so he has this match where he basically has to, or he basically like, the whole point is seemingly is like he's there and he got over Dalton Castle. He wins, and then he get the heat on him with the incoming body person or the incoming heater for Dutton and Lethal.
To be fair, this is how he looked at the end of the Supercard of Honor show too, like the third most important person in the ring.
Yeah. So then Joe clears him out or whatever else with the chair or with the lead pipe, and then him and Joe bump belts and is like, look, we all know we're not under any delusions that Jonathan Gresham is a bigger star in the same stratosphere as Samoa Joe historically, or even right now. We're not doing that. But why do you bring him on TV to do this? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you run both companies and the point is to showcase your champion, that's not necessarily a good way to do it. Like, now granted, there are a lot worse ways to handle a champion from another company on different promotions television. We've seen lots of those, right? But this one just wasn't like, it was almost felt like, what's the point other than just to do it? And I was like, okay, well, that's the point, just to do it then, I guess. But like, I don't, that's not going. I don't see how that makes anybody want to tune in to see the next title defense for Gresham. And
I was
like,
bored.
yeah, because it didn't make it just like he was like they treated him like he was just a guy and like with a belt, but a guy nonetheless.
Yeah. Then we had the main event.
They would never do this Ricky Starks. They would never do this Ricky Starks, and that's not even a real fucking belt.
Yeah. We had the main event after that, Thunder Rosa versus Nyla Rose, and I thought they worked hard in this match. I was into it. Thunder came out. Gotta say, big fan of cowboy hat Thunder Rosa. Keep bringing it to me every time she comes to Texas. So Thunder retains the championship against Nyla Rose. It was a cool Code Red reversal spot in this that I'm sure you guys have seen in different matches over the years, but Nyla's size and Thunder Rosa's like made it look great. I thought they fought pretty hard, and the crowd really, I think, got into this one by the end of it, and Thunder got a successful defense here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a this match was not good outside of like the power bomb gets countered into a red code red. It was sloppy at points. I thought the finish was well done, but most of the match, I gave it 3 flat stars. But like at this point, watching the 3 matches, it was like, okay, so like I thought this was the third best match on the show. Given how, and they also went kind of, I don't want to say kind of long, but like I felt the length of this match, but like. Either way, it's still a match that I would give 3 stars to. So, like, I gave all 3 matches, like, 3 stars or 3 1/4. And I was just like, they're good matches, but I'm not really, there's nothing really to write home about and be like, hey, go out. There's nothing I'd recommend to someone to watch. They go out their way to, if you already watch a lot of this stuff, to go watch more of it. And, like, that's the kind of stuff that's like, all right, well, if this is a money grab because it's, supplemental viewership or whatever else for their TV ratings or whatever else, like, or TV deal, fine. But I also feel like, in a way, like, this is also just supplemental, non-essential, programming. I understand there was a title change, but, like, outside the title change, there's nothing newsworthy at all about this stuff or is anything you need to go out your way to see. It was fine. It was an hour of fine wrestling.
Yeah,
I can say that because that sounds like it's just an hour of good wrestling and just flatly good. Nothing was dynamic or explosive or blew you away. Like compare that to what you saw in Dynamite. Like nah.
Yeah, like there's a clear difference in presentation and effort levels, and I don't know, man. Like I was saying, I think they've punted on this concept, like, and I think it comes down to them, like, when this thing rolled out, we were like, yo, this is going to be this Clash of the Champions style thing. And I mean, the reputation of Clash of the Champions
is overstated. And then if you start going through those cards, like, this probably is on par with what we were getting, like, in comparison to the standard's just higher now.
Right. Standard's higher. And you would think that any piece of landscape you can get, if you're going to get some extra shows on TNT for the year, you'd want to go super hard. But maybe it's a case where they're just like, all right, there's a certain ceiling on this thing, and they don't really want to commit more to it. They do the optics thing of the women main eventing. This is the second one they've main evented for Battle of the Belts. That's an easy lob you can throw up there, I feel like, to people that are looking for those type of things. But I would prefer that they put stuff on there that everyone cares about. No one gives a fuck about the Ring of Honor world title. Like, sorry.
Not when it's Dalton Castle versus Jonathan Gresham, no.
Like, come on, man.
Give me a Kyle O'Reilly Jonathan Gresham match.
There's no reason they couldn't have booked that. None.
I know. I know.
But yeah, I think they just gotta act like they care about it, and then they'll be fine. But it clearly feels like they don't care.
They do get one benefit. Like, I don't remember the first time they did it, but like they were able to do 2 shows this week, right? Like they were able to do, New Orleans Dynamite and then Rampage and Garland. So by them being able to do Garland for Rampage / Battle of the Belts, like, you ever get another house. So, like, I mean, that's what it accomplished. I don't know how it did in the ratings. I can't tell you how they did, but, like, I'm pretty sure it did decent for its slot. So like, it did something for them. But if you're, you know, it moved the Ring of Honor stuff forward, right? Mm-hmm. Like it, you know, like the Gresham, Lethal, Joe stuff. It moved that forward. So it's like it was just very. It was an hour of low stakes stuff that's like, if you are someone that's stretched for time, you can pull the results, read it, and be like, okay, 3 stars here, 3 stars here, 3 1/4 here, whatever you want to say, low 3s all around. And okay, Rosa got a you know, defense. Gresham was out there. They further along that with that stuff with Gresham and Lethal and Joe, and Guevara's champion again. Okay, cool. When's Dynamite?
Wednesday.
Well, I was asked that rhetorically. Like, if you were stretched for time, like, you go into the future with Battle of the Belts, you know now. You already knew after the first, but now you really know. You might get a title change. You ain't. It's like, okay, so it went from Sammy Guevara it moved from Scorpio Sky to Sammy Guevara. Like, if you were, I don't know, like they, you know, whatever. It was a title change, and I still feel like nothing happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was that kind of show. Good wrestling, but felt like nothing really happened.
But I guess moving on from here, James, it's time to hit the music.
So, last weekend, there were 2 shows, and then this weekend there was 1 show. Well, there was kind of 2 shows, but like, it wasn't Stardom. It was Corgan Hall's 60th anniversary shows, where they had the first show was on, I think, Friday, and it was they had a Joshi All-Star show from people from Marvelous and Sendai Girls and Ice Ribbon and Seedling and basically every place except for Tokyo Joshi Pro brought people in, and then the second show was a joint show between New Japan and All Japan. It's funny because like, I can't find that New Japan All Japan show to save my life anywhere, but like, I was able to get a hold of the Joshi show. I haven't seen it yet, but like, it's like 3 hours and change, and I'll watch it eventually this week. But I don't know why the New Japan one we can't find it. I don't know. But yeah, last weekend you end up having things of importance where they put 2 second round Cinderella tournament matches up or on the cards. One of the matches was Azumi versus Hazuki. Azumi versus Hazuki was basically them doing a tribute to their high speed stuff for 2019, when Hazuki was the high speed champion and Azumi and Starlight Kid also were chasing her. And then, up until Riho showed up and there was a mandate that she was not allowed to do jobs, so they made her the high speed champion, and that was that for that. They started off really quick where, they tried to have a high speed match, and then, Azumi basically like countered Hazuki and almost pinned her, and then like Hazuki was like, okay, like I can't just basically be like the aggressor in high speed tactics against her. She's improved that much. So I had to take a different route. And then at the end, Hazuki doing all the counter stuff I was mentioning ends up catching her, countering out of the Azumi Sushi, and then again hitting her with the Hazuki Star Cradle and pinning her. It's like 4 minutes. I give it 3.5 stars. 3 1/4 stars. It was really fun. And like, they have that same chemistry. They're awesome together. But Hazuki advances. And Hazuki reached out to shake Azumi's hand, and Azumi was like, nah, I ain't shaking your hand. So then Hazuki patted her on the head and walked off. I was like, all right. like, you better, but I'm still better than you. You got better, but you still ain't on my level. So that was fun. And then from there, the next match, it was Shuri and Himeka. So Shuri and Himeka, going back to, I want to say last November, Himeka challenged Shuri for a title match. At that time, it was for the SWA belt when she was still champion. And she, they had been waiting, and that was kind of like the stand-in place in case Konami could not come back for the eventual UWF rules match. Konami came back, so it never happened. But when you looked at the tournament and saw that they were kind of destined to face each other in the second round, you were like, okay, like this is where they set up for the match. And sure enough, this is what happened. They had a match where they just, you want to see them have a match. You want to see this ass kicker versus this fucking giant. And at the end, it goes to a draw, of course. I thought maybe you might even give Himeka a fall over. No, we're not doing that. We just had her go over Julia. We just had her go over Mayu. She ain't dropping no falls for no time soon. So, they went to a draw, and then they set up the match, and that is set for the main event for the Cinderella pay-per-view. So that is April 29th. So I think that's Friday, 2 weeks from now. I'm like giving that match, and also on yesterday's show, it's not up yet, but only thing that's up right now are the Cinderella tournament matches. But like there was a Micah and Himeka match where they're tagging versus Shuri and Ami, and like I can't wait to see Himeka in the ring with Ami. I can't wait to see them fucking giants get it on. But yeah, like so. I'm actually excited to see Himeka versus Shuri. Like it's been a while since Himeka's had a big title match in Stardom. She's only had one before, and like I think like when she wrestles people at a high level, like she can have a great match. Like my favorite single match from her was last year's G1 Grand Prix match versus her and Momo. Like I thought that match was outstanding, and like they can have that same level of match.
So this is Shuri's Lance Archer defense?
Kind of. Yeah. Kind of. Like, I mean, there will be no Texas death matches and bleeding, but yeah.
You need to bring that in.
Bringing the blood. Look, I got to tell you, I've seen them on accident get color before. Like, one of Arisa Hoshiki's last white belt defenses was at that 2020 anniversary show against Utami, and like, I don't know what happened, but Utami just was bleeding in the match, and like I gotta tell you, I was like, what the fuck are they doing? Like I thought that like Utami bladed, and I was like, what are they doing? But actually, it was legit. But like it distracted me the whole match. I didn't like that match. It was okay. But yeah, like I don't really see a need for blood in Stardom. I mean, if they want to, I guess, but I would say this. I think that maybe like the Natsuko stuff would have made more sense if like she's allowed to make the babyfaces bleed, because like she was trying to do a knockoff version of like All Japan Women's 80s like Dangerous Alliance shit. So like the whole point of that was like you were making the babyfaces bleed, and the teenage girls were crying because like Chigusa Nagayo was bleeding, and but for me it was like it didn't work, but maybe it would have. I don't think it was because it's still Natsuko, but maybe it would have. But yeah, like, I mean, here's the thing. I think if you do it in Stardom where you say you gotta get blood, you know who's going to want to do it first. It's going to be Julie want to do it first. Because, like, so like, if you're going to do it, you got to kind of save that for, like, a bigger spot. You got to save it for, like, a sumo hall type of deal or whatever else. Like, I think all the these like B pay-per-views, C pay-per-views, I don't think you do it then. I think you save it for like the big hot thing, and then you get the photographers and the pro weekly wrestling thing to get the pictures of like a bloody Julie or whatever else.
Nah, I need to see somebody fighting up and down the aisle. I need to see Rossi in a white suit, and then the blood splattering on Rossi and the hat, the white hat. That shit need to look like Scott Hall's clothes.
So So I'm trying to think. When was the last time I see Rossi wear something all white? Like, would it have been like probably Budokan Hall last year? So like in the middle of like the hair match, like in the middle of the hair match last year, these Tam and Julia all of a sudden like one of them started bleeding and they bleed all over Rossi.
Yeah.
Sure.
Add to the show.
It was already one of the best matches of the year last year. Like I guess it wouldn't have hurt. I don't
trying
know.
to be the best. You know.
Sure. I don't think the blood would have made it the best. Like the match is the match, but sure. But then again, you know, you look at like how I think about the Yuta in Moxley match, how other people look at it, like it was clearly because of the blood, because like the blood, that shit, I don't care about the blood, I care about the match, and like apparently y'all care about that blood a whole fucking lot. So I mean, and then again, you think, you know, and then have the precedent of like, oh, like watch the Cody and the Cody and Dustin match and like not care about the blood, and then watch it and then care about the blood and see how much of a difference it was. Like, is that a 5-star wrestling match based off the wrestling, or is it because like you think this legend is about to bleed out? I don't care. Get up and fight. Like, I'm over blood, but yeah. I'm interested to see what this match like. This match could be very important for like what Himeka could be in Stardom. Like if this shit goes gangbusters, she could be a red belt, white belt champion. If it just is okay, then maybe they were like, I think this is like the most important match of her career in Stardom. So, because it's like, I don't think she's charismatic. She's a shit stirrer when she wants to be. She's a good promo. Like, and all she has that size. And like the thing that always kind of I felt like was the thing that probably held her back was the fact that like is she as good a single wrestler as like the top of Stardom? The people at the top of Stardom, probably not. So like if she can answer some of these doubts, then like you can kind of see like I don't see why she couldn't pass by Micah if she has a killer match.
I feel like her ceiling, like she's a tag team champion.
I think, but the thing is, like we agree with that, but it also is like, you know, a lot of Stardom is like these people are also overqualified for that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like if she has a killer match, it can kind of change her trajectory because it's like, all right, a
lot of competition.
It is. But I mean, the way they protected her, and obviously that's some of that giant booking, right, with protection. But it's also like you might want to put that to good use at some point, right? Because it's like there's only so much equity you'll get out of it if she doesn't eventually become champion or one of the champions.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how this goes. Like I think this is a big match for her coming up in 2 weeks. So hope it works out well for her because I do like her. It's just I don't think she's at the level of the top of Stardom as far as like I think she's slotted appropriate to her skill level compared to the rest of the roster. Is just like, you know, I think that there's more for her if they let her like, you know, treat her like she's a number 2 in you know, instead of just number 3. Like I feel like she can get to a lot of stuff and be interesting as a shit stirrer. It just hasn't really happened because she's a giant. But that was pretty much the gist of last weekend stuff. This weekend stuff was basically the rest of the second round, and then because of different draws, like this basically like get you all the way up to the final 4 to where it lets you know like this is who's going to be in the semifinals and the finals. So the first match that I have on here is Saida Versus Mai. I was worried that they were going to have Mai beat Ida, and I was gonna be pissed. I don't know why. Maybe it's because like I was pissed that she beat C. But it went according to plan. Like Ida chopped the shit out of her, beat the shit out of her, and then pinned her. So that, you know, match is okay, but it didn't go long. Then next match after that, you end up getting Unagi versus Natsupoi. This match is one of the best matches of the tournament so far. Obviously, you know, 10-minute time limit is short, but it started off with some comedy. It's a callback to one of their random matches singles matches they had back last fall, where he did this comedy spot where they grabbed one of those stretchy bands And like they were snapping each other with it from, across from corner to corner from the ring, in the ring. And eventually like Daichi, the ref, ended up getting caught underneath it or caught over the top of it, like between his legs, and they both snapped him basically in his groin. So like they start the match and Unagi shows up. You can see like she has 3 of these pink fucking rubber band things, like just all over her gear. And then like, Daichi goes to, pat her down to see if she got any weapons. And then all of a sudden, like Daichi like pulls 1, pulls 2, and then they go to the wrestle. And he's like, what the fuck is this? And he's like, no. And then they go to wrestle. And then right as they go to start wrestling, like Natsupoi finds one literally like up the gauntlet. Like, the gauntlet deal she wears, grabs one and is about to snap. Natsupoi ends up getting caught up in the ref. They end up outside. And Natsupoi had got thrown over the top. And she's in danger, like she's about to fall over the top. And then Unagi tries to like knock her off. And at the last second, I don't know why, but Unagi had one in her bra, and one of those stretchy deals in her bra, and Natsupoi grabs it and snaps her to get, and she, freaks out because it hit her in the chest, and then like Natsupoi's able to slide back in. They continue wrestling, and then Natsupoi, they trade some near falls. Natsupoi ends up like getting gets a big German suplex, and then Unagi mounts a final fight, runs out of steam, and then Natsupoi ends up hitting her with a straight jacket suplex she calls the fairy train, gets the win. Natsupoi advances. And it was a fun match before the stuff, fun match during the goofiness, and then like the real wrestling happened, and it's like we got a good version of the TJPW. So Natsupoi advances. She goes to the final 4. So after that, you end up getting Kaguma versus Julia. Kaguma in Julia last year in the Grand Prix, they had a match where Kaguma rolled up Julia and pinned her. So I was thinking like, maybe she'll catch her again. They start off where she's trying to get Julia to do the bearism and all that kind of stuff, and Julia's not going for it, and eventually she goes for it, and then somehow like Kaguma keeps convincing Julia with the urging on the crowd to do some stupid shit that leads to her downfall. They both end up basically balancing on the top rope with their feet on the middle rope, and like they trade forearms back and forth, and the whole time they start teetering in and out while hanging on or whatever else the whole time for a little bit. It was entertaining. And then, but by the end, Julius gets put out on the apron, and Kaguma basically does like the drop kick where you run out. You're basically running out towards the apron. You drop kick somebody through the ropes, and then you hang off. Mm-hmm. And that's how Kaguma eliminated Julia. And then Kaguma's on the apron and was like, come here, I beat you, come here, I want you to pose for these bear pics. And then Julia begrudgingly posed for the bear pics, and then after she did it, she beat up Kaguma a little bit and then walked off. But it was fun for what it was. I think I gave it 3 stars. Then next match, Mayu versus Saki. So
I saw this. Hilarious. Electric 17-second match.
It never fucking fails, bro. I told you before it was going to happen. Like, she's all upset alert. And every time they're in a fucking tournament together, like,
Saki Kashima owns Mayu.
Yes, in the same way that now we're finding out that Kaguma owns Julia, Saki Ben owned Mayu. They shake hands Saki tries to shake Mayu's hand before the match, and Mayu's like, no, I'm not doing it. Get the fuck out of here. You betrayed me. You're a piece of shit. You're a scammer. Like, no, get away from me. Bell rings, and Mayu hits her the bell rings, immediately hits her with a super kick. No, actually goes to shake her hand. Mayu sets ready for it, all that kind of stuff. The bell rings. Mayu's, super kick, gets her up and goes for a tombstone power driver. Saki escapes and then goes for the the flashing crucifix pin. Mayu rolls out, and then Saki adjusts and puts her in another one, and it gets the pin in 17 seconds. I was like, I fucking howled. I was like, she's done it again. They've done it again. Mayu is fucking like, she's shocked and embarrassed. Like, why can't I beat this fucking geek? Like, it's the funniest shit. But, yeah, it made sense to me after it happened, that it's like, okay, I see what happened. Like, I would have preferred had like, cause then that sets up at this point now, the last two matches are the two, matches that determine who's going to get to, the semifinals, in Oda City, and that, the first match is, Ida versus, Kaguma, and then also, Mirai versus Saki. So I thought like maybe you do a real match between Saki and Mayu. Mayu's gassed, Mirai's fresh, hasn't wrestled a match, and then you have Mirai throw her over. In this case, didn't happen. Have Saki just squash Mayu with a fucking flash pin, and then you have they basically do, you know, Mirai fighting versus like all these goons from Oedo Taichin on the outside. But the first quarterfinal match is or from this show is Ida versus Kaguma, and man, like, you know, in a way, this doesn't quite fit nicely, because like Kaguma had came back on like the same show where Ida tore her ACL, but like basically after she had won the Futures title and she had to relinquish it because she tore ACL, they kind of more or less slotted in Kaguma where Ida may have ended up being had she not got hurt. Where like she was going to be like, after, you know, the whole situation happened with what they were planning with the you know, Starlight Kid moving on to Oedo Tai, like she was going to be like a number 2, number 3 figure for a while in Stars. Was going to be the Futures champion, eventually drop it to somebody else, but then move on from losing the Futures belt to be like, you know, somebody in the Golden Generation. So she tears the ACL and she comes back, and, you know, now they're in the same round, face each other, and like it's interesting to see it because, like, you know, they're basically, Kaguma's a little taller, but like they're more or less like underdog baby faces or whatever else, and obviously they do totally different ways. Like one's a, you know, serious ass, chop you, beat the shit out of you, lift you and throw you, get thrown around wrestler. The other one is, you know, high speed, also a comedian. And like I thought they pretty much had like a merging of what they both do best, like the high speed stuff with the big chops and lariats and stuff, and they had a hell of a match for like 8 minutes, wherever it went. But like Ida was giving Kaguma that work. It's just chops and lariats and overpound her, and had her literally beat. And you know, she'd done everything except for hit her with the spinning brain buster. So she got frustrated seemingly, and Ida went for the Itabashi, her roll up, and Kaguma basically ducked out of it and just hit her with the Kuma roll and got her out of there. And as it happened, I was like, I kind of wish that Ida had won, but I'm not mad because like Kaguma advances, and the semifinals will be her versus Suzuki, and they can, you know, play more into their friendship and stuff that they, like, ever since Suzuki came back. And that's been a really good story ever since, you know, Suzuki came back. So I'm not mad at it, but I really would have liked to have seen, Ida had made it this far to then lose to Hazuki, but whatever. Either way, Hazuki's going to get to the final. I don't think anyone's under the impression that like Kaguma's going to win Cinderella. I'd be surprised, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
She's final. She's fine. She was in the final of the first one, but I mean that was 2015.
Then again, it is a Cinderella. I mean, anybody can win this shit.
There are things I don't want to say on air, but I think there are certain restrictions to be put in that Cinderella dress.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So So then the other the main event of this Korakuen Hall, it is Mirai versus Saki Kashima, and Mirai is at first shining like a baby face, and then go at his on the outside, try to pull her off the apron after she ended up over the top, and then Shuri and Ami cleared house pretty quick. They got them to stop that shit pretty quick, and then they end up back in the ring, and they're going back and forth, and they had a really good near fall with the Flash crucifix pin, didn't work, and then from there Mirai fought back, and she kept hitting with big ass bombs, and she folded. At the end, Mirai is winning, so going into the other side of the bracket, it is Natsupoi versus Mirai in the other semifinal. So like all new people from compared to last year's Final Four. I think that it's either Hazuki or Natsupoi that's going to win this thing. But either way, like for someone to have just showed up at the beginning of the year, January 3rd, to like now being the semifinals of the Cinderella tournament, already have got a red belt title match, like, and also like made some noise, like storyline wise, like jumping a faction already. Like they're like, they clearly have big plans for Mirai and this Golden Generation thing. And like she's fucking good. She's fucking good. Like this is probably my second best match in the tournament. Her and Saki, and like Saki was game. Like Saki pulled out a fucking top rope Rana. Like this was like one of those things where like, this is my time to shine. Like, just like the Osaka Joe Hall thing with Shuri, like every so often they give her a spot. Like mostly she's like the kid comedy wrestler at this point.
Right.
And, like the gatekeeper for the like future title or whatever else. Like the old, Natsu Sumire role. She kind of took, and like she's obviously more talented than that, but like she doesn't really sweat it, and like they gave her the spot to kind of see what Mirai is made of, and like Mirai showed and proved again. Like Mirai, at this point, Mirai don't miss. She's fucking good. But yeah, we'll get the card for that show is already out. We'll talk about it next week when we preview the show. But yeah, it's got a big gauntlet match in the middle of it to basically put everybody on the card, similar to like that goofy match they did last year on that show with like the end up with Julie and Tam tagging together. But yeah, 2 title defenses, and we'll talk about it next week though. But that's the end of the show. Unless you got something else.
Yeah, man. 2 things. So apparently the Warriors have like broke their foot off in Denver's ass, and Steph is going crazy, and Jordan Poole's going crazy.
I'm watching it.
Yeah, so feeling good, for about that Warriors pick I was talking about earlier, and also rest in peace to the Drama King DJ K Slay, passed away from complications from COVID-19. Not gonna get into what he may or may not have been on necessarily before that, but big loss in the hip hop community. I'll stick to that. Like this is a guy who started as a graffiti artist, like, and was a mixtape DJ that he kind of got. He rolled with. I was kind of more on the DJ Clue side. I always liked Clue more than K Slay.
Well, I mean, like K Slay kind of at a certain point made it where you had to make a choice.
Yeah. So I was rolling with Rock.
Yeah. Like you want to Rockefeller, you want to roll with Papoose. I'll take Rockefeller. I'm sorry, K Slay. Like I like some of that stuff, but nah, man. Go ahead. Sorry,
but yeah, rest in peace to him. Very big part of like the mixtape DJs. I've got lots of K Slay mixtapes back in the day at Scope's mixtape spot. Just had every single one of them, Street Sweepers, and a bunch of that stuff. So big loss in the world of hip hop. I would consider myself like to try to rap to impress people like K Slay. So yeah, just it was a tough loss for the rap community, and rest in peace goes to his family, or him, and best wishes to his family and everything.
I think it's at this point, like, we gotta, when we talk about DJing, because it's such a, the whole networking promotion thing is like a small thing. Like obviously Cal is still around, but like he might be the last one in hip hop anyway. Like there's always going to be like the EDM DJs, whatever. But like as far as rap goes, yeah, that's a different thing. That's a different thing. Like they're producers and also DJ. Like that's not. It's a whole different objective. But I think that like. We gotta kind of give a lot of props in respect and roses or whatever you want to call it to like the DJs from, the last 20 years or so, that like the ones that were able to like do the mixtape thing in the radio stuff, or maybe the radio stuff's optional, but like do all that stuff and then we're able to like get a release for their album for, like, I think it was a big deal. Like, so people like, professional stuff for Clue, the Street Sweeper stuff, the Gangsta Grill stuff, Khaled, example, like, we got to kind of like put them on a different kind of tier because like, there's less than 2 handfuls of them that were able to do that. And Casey was one of them. Like, I think it's a time and place thing. Like, East Coast rap, New York, late 90s, early 2000s, like, if you were there, like, K-Slade was a big fucking deal. And, like, he'd be on those radio shows and he'd be out here talking fucking disrespectful to anybody.
All the shit.
It seemed like he fought any grievance he had with anybody. He was out here. He didn't give a fuck. He'll say it. And, like, that's also part that kind of kept him, that we kind of all enjoyed about him, is like, he didn't give a fuck. He'll say it. He'll say that shit. Yeah, Drama King. So like, it was, my experience with rap was more fun because he was in it. Absolutely.
Yep. So R.I.P. to K-Slay, and I don't really have too much more this week.
Yeah. That's in the show, y'all. Thanks for listening. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using to listen to this with. If you are watching the stream, hit us up with the bits. If you are listening for the podcast, go to our circle and drop us off with a donation. And be sure to be sure to listen to other shows on the network. Aside from One Nation Radio, you also have Keepin It Strong Style, the Ricky Clive Wrestling Show, Grown Men Watch This Shit, the Grave Consequences Podcast, 8-Bit Suplex, All Things Elite, Great Match Generator, and AEW Match Guide. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Peace.
Stop avoiding your erectile dysfunction issue. Peak Performance for Men is offering your best offer yet. Call today to book your free consultation and free blood flow evaluation. 1-800-210-8181. Peak Performance for Men helps over 80% of men who receive the treatment experience long-term improvement. Let the experts at Peak Performance for Men help you today. All it takes is one phone call for a free consultation. Free blood flow evaluation. Call 1-800-210-8181. That's 1-800-210-8181.
Underdog Fantasy is the fastest growing fantasy app and easiest place to play fantasy sports. Play season-long best ball, fantasy drafts where you only focus on the most fun part of fantasy, drafting your team. Just jump on UnderdogFantasy.com or download the app, draft your team, and that's it. Underdog handles the rest for you. No waivers, trades, or setting your lineups each week. And if drafts aren't your thing, they also have a pick'em game where you can win 20 times your money in a single night. Use promo code RADIO, and Underdog will double your first deposit when you sign up with up to $100 in bonus cash. Deposit $100, get $100 free. That's promo code RADIO. Terms and conditions apply.